Ladies and gentlemen, you know this is going to be a serious show when I put a monetary figure of 500,000 US dollars in the front of the title. You know this is going to be serious, and we are serious about that number. There is a friend of mine named John Escape. You've seen him on my channel. I have explained to you people many, many times that John Escape, he actually runs a large corporate business in Miami and has about 700 people directly or indirectly working for him in different job descriptions. But in addition to that, John Escape has a family heritage of raising horses, real horses, breeding horses. They own farms where they breed different types of breed. Some are farm animals for the farm, some are for racing, some are for breeding. And John's family has been doing this for about 50 years. John and I spoke this morning about his upcoming auction where he's going to put a pair of horses, a mother, which is a mare, and a foal, which is a stallion. The mother's name is Marie, and the stallion, up until this morning, had a hip number, HIP, a hip number. But John and I discussed naming the stallion, and he kind of liked that idea, and is going to name the stallion the SS Rabbi Jew Barker. And I found that rather interesting that he could do that. He can be the person to name the horse. Now, of course, a horse has a name and a hip number when it's sold, but the new owner can change the name. You cannot change the hip number. The hip number is like the social security number of the horse. So when the bidding starts for the auction, you should understand. Now, I'm going to give you the exact date. I'll probably have to put it in the comments section. The exact date hasn't been set for the auction, but I'll give you a description of the two horses that are going to be sold as a pair, which apparently is common in horse trading industry. So the mother is a 7-year-old mare, M-A-R-E, named Marie. She's had 5 healthy births. When I say healthy, I mean none of the animals have had kidney problems or heart problems or diabetes or anything like that, where they would need medication. The last animal that was birthed by Marie, which is basically the SS Rabbi Jew Barker, that animal, which is sometimes common amongst different male species of the genera on the flat Earth or the planet Earth, one of the nuts on the SS Rabbi Jew Barker did not drop. Now that happens sometimes. So that's not a health issue, whereas it wouldn't cause a cancer or any kind of malfunction of the internal organs. The only thing that it does involve is when you look at the horse from the back side, it looks a little lopsided. So what John, and not necessarily John, but what John, with the help of today's expert medical industry, they took one stainless steel nut and they put it on inside the scrotum of the horse, and that's why he added the SS Rabbi Jew Barker to that, because this the stainless steel Rabbi Jew Barker one nut horse. But they're not going to put the one nut in the name of the horse. They're just going to have the SS Rabbi Jew Barker. So with today's technology, they had the ability to add just the right size itlog or egg or nut Now, some people believe if the horse only has one nut, it offsets their vertigo. Vertigo is something that you lose your balance. Like when you spin around inside one of those circus machines where you spin around and you get off and you're all dizzy, that's vertigo. I don't think it has anything to do with vertigo, but I think it just had to do with the aesthetics of selling the horse with just one nut. Probably would look better if the scrotum sac was balanced out. So that's what we have going on today. And I will give you the location of the auction is going to be in Miami, Florida. You can contact me. You could leave a message in the chat window, or you could send me your phone number. I don't know how many horse breeders are out there. John would give you the details and send you the details of the paperwork of both horses. In other words, whatever medical condition, however old the horses are, whatever medications they've taken, whatever shots they've had, all of that stuff is on a sheet. And John has that paperwork ready for people that are interested in coming to the auction. So we have that. And then I'm going to go to my notes. I want to talk about a few other things after I'm done talking about John's horse. I want to tell you where the thumbnail of this video came from. So I have explained to you people that in 1980, I spent, well, in 1980, I went to California. I think it was November, and I was supposed to come home in December before Christmas, but I ended up staying there through April. And I had met several people in Vista, California that had horses. Now, the horses that you see in the thumbnail are a man named Sam and his wife, Beth, B-E-T-H, Beth. They had horses for the whole time I knew them, from the 1970, when I went there in 1970, all of the people that associated with my friend Tom, they all had horses. So where I was in that picture was I was on Buckaroo, which is Tom's horse. And I took the picture of Sam and Beth and their children. And that's in front of their house, and that's Tom's work truck. So I have other pictures of Buckaroo, and I have pictures of myself and Buckaroo on our way to Carlsbad and Oceanside, California, from Vista, California. And at that time, in 1970, there were absolutely no fences between Vista and Carlsbad or Oceanside or Black's Beach, was where basically where Scripps Oceanographic Institute is. In the 80s, the early 80s, there were some boundaries that you had to cross, but the farmers had no problem with you going through their farm, because we're talking about farms that were thousands of square acres between Vista and Oceanside or Carlsbad or La Jolla. Now you couldn't ride a horse through there without really riding down the street. But back then, in the 1970s, when I first started riding horses in California, because I went there for the summer, you could literally travel from Vista, California, Vista, V-I-S-T-A, from Vista to Oceanside, which is where Camp Pendleton is, Scripps Oceanographic Institute, the Bluffs. You could literally travel for 17 miles on a horseback, and not run into a fence. And anytime you wanted to stop, the farmers would give you hay if they had hay, and if you wanted to feed the horses, there was watermelons and tomatoes. We could have all the watermelons and tomatoes we wanted, plus whatever food we brought. So that was pretty interesting. So that was really cool. And the other cool thing I did with Sam was when I met Sam in the year of 1970. Now, I was 15. Sam was a few years older. Tom was a year older. So I was going to be turning 15. Tom was already 16. He had his driver's license, and Sam might have been 18 or 19. And we went to Sam. See, he had his own house, even at that young age. He had a mechanics business, a car mechanics business. So when I met Sam, I had gone over to his house at night with a few other people, and he was rebuilding a motor in a dune buggy. It was like a 40 horsepower Volkswagen engine. And he said to me something about mechanics. I don't remember what it was. You know, you're going back a long time, but he said something about, do you know anything about mechanical stuff? I said, yeah, I'll help you with and then he realized that I had really gone, at that time, I was in aviation high school, and that he put the motor together, but I worked with him putting the motor together. He goes, when we're done, I'm going to take you to Carlsbad, the Carlsbad racetrack, and we're going to test. He had a dune buggy. He had blown the motor, and we were putting it back together. I said, we're going to find out. We're going to show you what a dune buggy is, because I had never seen a dune buggy. So we worked on it that night, and the next day I went back there with Tom and Tom's wife, Kathy, and Beth, and 4 or 5 other people. It was a beer party, but I didn't drink. We got the motor together it was after dark. And we took it was in the garage. We dropped it down off the jacks that it was on, and we took it outside. He started it up. He goes, come on, let's go. So where are we going? He goes, we're going to go play, like dune buggy riding. And Tom said, Mike, don't go. And Tom has been my friend now since I was like 6 years old. And he had moved to California when he was 13. And I'm going, why not? He goes, no, don't go. Don't go. He goes, you're not going to like it. So I says, I'm going to go. So I get in the dune buggy, and Sam takes us down the road. And Carlsbad, the racetrack for the motocross, it was only, from Tom's house, you could see the racetrack. But from Sam's house, which was at the bottom of the valley, you couldn't see it, but you could hear it. Now, we didn't hear anything that night, but you could hear it and see it from Tom's picture window in his mom's house. You could see the racetrack and hear the racing. And Tom had taken me there with his Jeep Cherokee, and we climbed some weird mountain that said they couldn't be climbed with a Jeep, but he did it. And it was like nobody else would do it, and Tom did it, and I did it with him. But Sam was a complete nut job. So he gets to the track, and then he's taking, now there's no fences, there's no gates. This is 1970. And whatever was at the track at that time, we went through. And we had the thing, he's driving. He had the thing up, I don't know how many feet, however many, but it's at night now. It's not during the day, and there's no lights on in the track. So when the dune buggy went up, it went up into the air, and all you saw was blackness. And at some point, we hit a little bit hard, maybe, I don't know. He stopped the machine. He says, are you scared yet? I go, look, if I die, you die. So just continue. Because I was having fun. We were strapped in. with the seatbelt. I don't remember if it was 5-point or not, but we were strapped in, and he took me for a ride. And when he came back to the house where everybody was, they were all expecting me to be all upset and everything like that. And Sam said, "This guy's all right," because I'm from New York now, right? I'm not supposed to be okay with going out in dune buggy riding at night. Total insanity. Total insanity. There's no doubt that it was total insanity. It wasn't right to be doing it at night. It wasn't right. There were so many things wrong with what we did, but we did it, and it was fun. So that's one thing I wanted to talk to you about. Now I have a link for that, but you could just look up Carlsbad Racetrack, or I'll put it in the description. It's a Pinterest link, and this was visible from Tom's house. John escaped, and Dennis Adams. Okay, so I was explaining. Now, John, what I wanted to do was to ask you when you got here. I know you said you were going to come here. What is there any further information? Oh, the one piece of information that we didn't talk about this morning was when approximately is the auction going to take place? That we didn't talk about. Dennis Adams, welcome to the machine, Dennis Adams. So I'll wait for Dennis Adams. I also want to talk about I want to talk about a few other things. John is saying hello to Dennis. I want to talk about a few other things. I'll wait for John to give us the information. And the two things I'm going to need from you, John, the location of the auction itself and the date, if the date has been set for the auction. And I explained the mother, Marie, is 7 years old, and she's had 5 foals since then, all stallions, by the way. If I didn't mention that, I think I did. And all healthy animals, are, including, none of them have ever had any internal problems. The one small issue is that the latest foal, which is it's a yearling, it's called a yearling, just had one nut didn't drop, and I explained how the doctors installed one stainless steel nut. Some people believe it helps with vertigo, and other people just basically it's for the aesthetics. When you're looking at the back of the horse, you don't just see one nut, you see both nuts, because that would be probably a big sale issue if it was a male horse. You would know more about this than me, but I mean, somebody's going to pick up the tail and see that the package wasn't balanced. But of course, you solve that problem with the insertion of the stainless steel nut. Now, and I know that you said it was a stainless steel nut. Do they ever have to be replaced, these nuts? I mean, does the horse get like one stainless steel nut now, and then 10 years later you have to replace the nut? Or is like a stainless steel nut good for life, the life of the horse? So that would be something I would not know about, having just one testicle. Does it interfere with the other testicle, the stainless steel? I mean, does it interfere? I mean, how would a person know? This is something John could answer. Okay, all right. The question is, so the question is, the nut is good. The stainless steel nut is good for life. But now, how would a person know if they were buying a yearling, the SS Rabbi Drew Barker? How would a person know by looking at the horse if it had just one nut? Would they have to like grab the scrotum sac and feel it? I mean, would you be able to feel it? I mean, is that what you would do if you were buying a horse, to make sure that the horse had 2 normal testicles? Or would you not think about that? Or would you not care? Some people don't care. I don't know. I don't know much about horses. So the nut is good for life, but would you would you be able to tell, like you pick up the horse's tail, you're going to buy the horse, and you're inspecting the horse. You inspect the hooves, you inspect the muscle tone, and you check out the shots and the medical record. Would you grab the horse by the testicles and feel to see if one was softer than stainless steel and one was stainless steel, one nut was stainless steel? Would you grab them? I mean, would you not think about that? Or would it always say on the medical record that you wouldn't have to go through the process? And then, I don't know, John, I'm waiting for your answer. I would think that, a good horse trader would know to feel the testicles the same way when you go to the doctor and they put their fingers under your testicles and they tell you to cough. I would think that would be something that would you know how to do that? Or would that be something that your father did, grabbing the scrotum and checking the bally bag sack? Is that does it run in the family that to know how to grab the scrotum and the sack and, give it the massage and everything like that? Or is that something that anybody could do? I'm not saying. John must have lost his. Okay. It's for balance issue. And yes, a breeder would want that information. Okay, so you'd want to know. Okay, so it is for balance, for vertigo. Okay, thank you. Yeah, see how much stuff there is to know about having. Now, this is especially serious because when John was saying this morning, we were on the Skype call. When John was saying this morning that he was going to have an auction for the horses, right? I'm thinking to myself, how much is the mother horse worth? And I'm thinking, I got a number in my head of $10,000. And then John, I said, how much do you think the bidding is going to start at? And he tells me $300,000 for the both animals. And I'm going, well, I was wrong about that. So I don't know much about horse breeding, but John does. And so now the other question is, when is the auction? So Scott Del Fuego, we are moving. Scott Del Fuego, we are moving in a new direction temporarily while we wait for John's answer. Stainless steel is the best when replacing. Okay, so I would imagine. I do remember reading somewhere that actually this morning that they have a glass nut, but stainless steel would be the way I would want to go if I was going to replace a nut on one of my animals. I'd want non-magnetic 316 aircraft grade stainless steel. That would probably do the trick. Scott Del Fuego, thank you for stopping by. Michael Fazio, a real true man of the people, a man beloved by the real people that have entered his realm, a man despised by the army of useless eaters, skin dummies, shysticks, or husks. That means basically a skin suit over a piece of shit. These people that lie, steal, and live off welfare state are a scourge upon the world and useless to any forward development in life. That's true. What we're talking about is, what Scott's talking about is that the people where I live in my general community, and we're going to get to John Escapes. Okay, John Escapes says, the auction is in Homestead, the Redlands, January 21st. Okay, so Homestead, I can tell you where that is. If you take the Florida Turnpike or US 1, and follow US 1 through Florida. At the end of US 1, you're going to see US 1 merge with the Florida Turnpike, which is US 1 exit 1. Exit 1, 2, and 3, actually. I know where that is because I lived in Key Largo. And then Homestead, you're going to get off and you're still going to be on US 1. The Turnpike exits onto US 1 at US 1, 1, 2, and 3. There's a huge Honda dealership right on where you're going to get off right on that exit. So now what Scott is talking about is I have some videos that I did not post yet, except to just a few people. I'm not sure that Scott got one, but I'm going to show you the pictures. My ad tonight was Shopco Optical. Shopco Optical. I don't know how that happened. Scott says, I got $1 million. I got $1 million. Do I hear 2 million? John said that the optimal price for the horses would be somewhere around 500,000. If the auction would bring that much in, it would be a good turnover for profit. Anything less than 300,000 and the money and time and investment into the project would be, somewhere around break even, but over 300,000 is the profit mark. So what I'm going to show you now is some pictures while these men have some talk. Okay, so where Scott says I'm a man of the people. Now, I know that you people think that I don't care what you think. I never cared what you think. I'm never going to care what you think. But I made a video a few days ago about the rice. Actually, it was about 7 tons of free food, maybe more. My estimate is factual. It was 4 tons, 4,000 bags. Each bag contained 2 kilos. So that's 8,000 kilos or 4.5 tons of rice. And I'm going to show you the pictures that I took in the auditorium. And then I'm going to show you the people that were working there, filling up thousands of bags. Now, on the first day, they were a little bit shy, a little bit, not cold, shy. They didn't know why I was making the video. However, that afternoon, when I left there, I went back to the birthday party of like the year. And I stayed there for several hours. But a lot of the people that you're going to see in these pictures came to the party because it's all like one big family down on that part of Bohol, that part of Pang Lao. The next day when I went back, which is a video I'm going to post, it's going to be available Saturday night around 5 o'clock, between 3 and 5 o'clock in the afternoon, America. Is everybody, when I walk into the auditorium, hey, Mike, how you doing? Hey, Michael, Niwang, Michael, Tom Book, Michael, Mayan Gabii in the morning, which they're saying good evening. Because at the party, that's how people greet me. They greet me as Niwang Ko, Niwang Ka, and I greet myself Niwang Ko. And they say, no, Tom Book, Niwang Saka, Naug, Ugma, the Hapon. I do everything I say to the people. I say it in reverse. So if it's morning, I say Mayang Gabii, which means good evening. And then they go, oh, no, not Dali Gabii, Buntag. And then I'll say Tanuid. So that in and of itself, for 6.5, in 1 month, it'll be 7 years. But in 6.5 years of me with that little routine, wherever I go, I'll be walking down the streets of Tagbilaran and there'll be a jeepney go by, Tumbuk, 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 Tumbuk. And you'll hear you'll hear the thing go off into the distance. So the second day when I went back, everybody was very friendly. So I'm going to show you pictures of what's going to be seen in the second video upload. Now, John has something more to say. So John says, Mike, I must say, a stainless steel nut would never replace the real nut. No. I wouldn't think it would. Well, I wouldn't know how to know the difference, because I got to be honest with you. I've seen horses. I've ridden horses. I've rode horses for miles and miles and miles through mountainous areas in California. I've ridden horses in the United States in the Jamaica Bay Wildlife Center, and I've ridden horses in Rego Park, where there was a trail in Rego Park, a really nice trail, actually. I've never ridden a horse in Manhattan except for a horse and buggy. But I've ridden a lot of horses, but I would never think to grab the horse by the colognes and check for a stainless steel. And then I wouldn't know how much pressure to apply without maybe getting the horse upset. This would be something only an expert would know how to do. Being that it's non-magnetic, you can't use a magnet because it's non-magnetic stainless steel. You can't use a magnet. I doubt very much the horse would appreciate it if you was tapping on the side of the scrotum with a pencil or something like that. I don't know how you'd know. That maybe John has an answer. So another sentence that John said, Michael Fozzie, the Pope of his township in Bohol. Now, that's very true. So I will tell you, yesterday I was stopped on the beach. Prior to being stopped on the beach, sidetracked for about 15 minutes of absolutely useless banter between a few of the locals. Prior to that, I was attacked. I was attacked in the Philippines yesterday. I was out in the Dagat swimming after I did my show. And I was just swimming along in about 4 feet of water. And I went past a sea anemone, and there were 2 clownfish. Now, there were clownfish everywhere. Clownfish are very territorial. And I went and I just hovered over the sea anemone. I didn't want to talk to the clownfish or interact with them at all. And they looked up like this at me, and I waved to them like that. Because, there's not much else to do when you're in the water. And both of them, like on demand, they both came right up from different angles and attacked my fingers. And, they cannot draw blood, but if they were able to draw blood, they'd have done it. So I backed off a little bit, and then they were attacking my mask like that, hitting the mask. Bang! You could hear them on bang, bang, bang. Because they were like attacking. They were attacking me. I was under attack by 2 clownfish. It was the trippiest thing. I wished I would have had my camera. I didn't have the camera, but I wished I would have. It would have made a cool video. So then when I went to shore, there was about 6 people on the shore, and they wanted candy. And I said, Dali, candy? Where am I going to put candy? I'm out in the ocean swimming. Where would I have candy? Theoretically, you could put it in a plastic bag, and theoretically, I could put it in my pocket, but I remember trying to do that a few times. And if you're doing a serious swim, which yesterday was a mediocre swim, I did 1,000 feet. I did 400 feet out, 1,000 feet westward, and I did 400 feet back in, just under 1,800 feet, not a big swim. And I took a nice leisurely swim. It was a breaststroke because it was in shallow water, and I didn't want to go overhand stroke. So So they were asking me for candy, and I said no, because this is the candy season in the Philippines. They know that Fazio has candy around Christmas time. So when I got back, I told them, come back to the house. When I got back, they followed me back to the house. And I gave everybody that came 2 pieces of candy. So it doesn't seem like much, but to the Filipinos, it's a treat. And it's it doesn't cost that much. It doesn't bother my wallet that much at all, but it does give the Filipinos something to say hello and to be a little bit happy about, because there's 2 sari-sari stores on this block that I will tell you that about or a year ago, maybe a little bit more than a year ago, I went in to buy a pack of cigarettes, Winston. And in the mall, the cigarettes were 87 pesos per pack. So at the top of the block on the main road, the cigarettes were 100 pesos per pack. So in the mall, 87 pesos per pack. On my block, I stopped to get a pack of cigarettes, and the woman told me 140 pesos. So 140 pesos, that's like 50 pesos more than you'd pay for them in the store, and 40 pesos more than what you'd pay for them up the block. So I said, no, I will go up the block to buy cigarettes up the block for 100 pesos. So I did, and I got them for 100 pesos. Well, the next time I went back up the block, the cigarettes went to 140 pesos. The woman who's on my block, who I have given many, 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 many things to for Christmas and on Fiesta Day, foods, she went up the block and told the people, don't sell me cigarettes for 100 pesos, charge them 140. And then everybody on the block started charging 140. So I stopped buying cigarettes from them. I would only go into the city to buy cigarettes. And in the city, you could get cigarettes for 100 pesos a pack or 89 pesos a pack when you buy them at the cigarette store. So about 6 months ago, I wanted a pack of cigarettes, and I didn't feel like going into the city for 1 pack of cigarettes. It was just 1 pack I wanted, and I was short 2 pesos. No, I was short 2 cents, which is 1 peso, and I had 139 pesos. That's all I had in change. I had that and a 1,000 peso bill. And I gave her the 1,000 peso bill, and she said, we don't have change. I said, well, I have 139 pesos. She goes, it's okay. It's okay. You can come back and give me the peso, which I did, of course. But of all the I am talking about for Christmas, for that family, always for 6 years, a kilo of spaghetti sauce and 2 kilos of spaghetti. And if I have anything else that I don't really need, like extra kilos of rice or something like that, oddball kilos from a bag that I'll buy a big thing, I'll give them some rice. But everybody, my immediate neighbors, all get a kilo of sauce or 2 kilos of sauce and 2 kilos of spaghetti. Depends on how many people are in their family. In this family, there's 3. So what happens is that woman wanted that 1 peso from me. And that was the last time I bought anything from her, considering that I gave her, well, a kilo of sauce is 90 pesos and a kilo of royal spaghetti is 90 pesos. So she's always gotten 180 and 200, always got like a $5 gift for Christmas, but also for a fiesta. But they've never given me even a single piece of candy, which is normal. But I thought I just wanted to point that out, that that this is how it works in the Philippines. One person has a price, and everybody charges that price. Now, had I asked another man who was at the birthday party, which now it wouldn't matter, but let's just say this week went by where the birthday party was. Had I asked that man to go get me a pack of cigarettes, it would be 100 pesos for him because he's Filipino. So they were charging me a 40%, what we call the long nose tax. Oh, talking about money. Oh my God, money, 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 money. John, rainbow. Oh, I don't think we're going to see a rainbow today, but I'm going to have a rainbow next week for my Christmas special because, well, first we'll have to say thank you to John Escape. Salamat. And good luck with the sale of your horse. But let's party, baby. Money, 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 money. Now let me get the smiley face. And I'm going to tell you what's going to happen next week. Next week, you know Digger. Digger knows you. This is Digger 2. Digger 1 is up there. Obama is the Digger 1 doll. Okay. Money, money. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, John Escape. Salamat. John raises horses. John Escape sells horses. John Escape's father is the bosses of the horses. John Escape is the real deal. Now, while I'm saying thank you, I want everybody to understand there is a very jealous YouTuber out there who I made a comment saying to one of my wrenches, whose name is Pennsylvania Trucker. I thanked him for sending Super Chat to a less fortunate individual, and I meant it. And apparently, Pennsylvania Trucker not only sent that man Super Chat, but from what I've seen in comments is PA Trucker bought him a phone. And I want to say thank you. But in addition to that, if Pennsylvania Trucker did buy Barry a cell phone and give him money, what I want you to do, PA Trucker, is if you plan on giving me any money for Christmas, I want you to give it to Barry. He needs it a lot more than me. Now, I've done this with other people, and they have abided by my request. The Habsters used to stop by and give me $1 or $2 or $3. And I said to Mr. and Mrs. Habster publicly, I said, please don't give me the money. Give it to one of the other girls that was on Chi's show. I forgot her name. But she's living in Dubai. And I said, don't give me the money. So I'm serious about that. If you people are just going to give one donation to somebody, give it to somebody that's a little bit more in need than I am, because I am hearing things like I'm broke, that I was at the food bank that I'm going to show you pictures of because I was there begging for food. I got some things I would say to that person. I actually did say it to that person already, and they declined the offer to go settle these things in a manly fashion. Absolutely curled up into a little ball, like those little water bug balls. Absolutely was not going in that direction at all, even though I gave them the opportunity. I let them know that this opportunity exists. There was no fucking way. He took one look at the situation, assessed it, and self-preservation kicked in full on. And that's okay. That's okay. That's what self-preservation is there for. It's to self-preservate. So what I want to say is to Pennsylvania Trucker, if you're just going to donate $1 or $2 to somebody, don't make it me. I need the big things. I need a cement mixer, that you can send me $23,000 for, although I have a large portion of that money set aside already. I need a rebar bender. That's about $7,500 with the cutter on the side. I need one of those. I need a $20,000 jet ski. What else? The computer money is already set to the side. I mean, if you're going to send in the thousands, then I need some of those bigger things. If you want to just send it in bulk, you can let me know. I'll give you a private way to talk to me and where I could go pick up the money. But if you're going to just send a few dollars and that's all you have and you want to just help somebody out, I want you to send it to Barry or that other girl whose name I forgot. So I think that's reasonable. The truth lady, now she could tell you that I'm telling you the truth about this. The truth lady, she signed up for a ridiculous amount of money, considering her financial situation, on my Patreon account. And I called her up on Skype and I said, no. You can't do that. You have to reduce your pledge down to this money, and at a maximum of this amount of money, which she did. You can ask her if I'm telling you the truth, because the truth lady has a minimal income. I'm not going to start taking people's percentages of people's income. A few dollars here or there is reasonable. You got people on here like there's a guy named Vinny Eastwood. There's another guy. Oh, shit. We have some really fucking very, very successful people when it comes to stupid chat. Vinny Eastwood just asked for and received $4,500 for a computer, like myself, in 3 days, 72 hours. But 2 months ago, he needed a car, and he got a car. And before that, he had a baby, and they paid for his entire birthing and hospital bills. And before that, he needed something else. Vinny Eastwood is pulling down $30,000, $40,000 a year on Super Chat. That's just Super Chat. And there are people in the Philippines that do a hell of a lot more than that, whose names I won't mention. But there are people that are in a lot more need than those two assholes that I just mentioned. And one of them would be Barry Jordan. So if you're just going to give a few dollars, I would appreciate it that you don't send it to me. If you have thousands, I need a cement mixer. I need a rebar bender. I got the money for the computer, and I also wanted a nice $20,000 jet ski with the fishing package on the jet ski so I could go fishing in case we run out of foods. Now I'm going to show you the ask the truth lady if I did that. Go ahead and ask her. She'll tell you. Mr. Willis, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. Mr. Willis was a longtime member of my Patreon account who understands that there's no longer possible to come to the Philippines, and he put his membership on hold, or he may not come back, but we still talk whenever he has something that he wants to ask me about. But there's nothing to ask about because there's no tourist travel information. But I still remain friends with Mr. Willis, and he's probably been off my Patreon account for several months. I don't keep track of that stuff. So we had the rainbow. Let's get over here. And I'm going to show. Let me show you the first picture that I have up here. This picture here is the men and women sitting in a half a ton of rice. This is a half a ton of rice on the floor and the bags. Right now, these are 2 kilo containers in their hand. And there's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 10 people filling up bags. And we'll go to the next picture. And this is part of the pile of 4 tons. So based on the amount of rice, not that you see here, but a lot that you can't see here, they estimated they'd be able to make 4,400 bags of goods. Now, I want to show you another picture. These bags are 50-kilo bags, 100-pound bags. And then the pile of rice is behind this gentleman here. And we'll go to the next picture. This is a picture of bags by the front door of the auditorium. And then in my next video that I'm going to make public in about 27 hours from now, you're going to see these people laughing and joking with me, which goes back to John saying I would be the Pope of Bahal, and Scott saying that I get along well with all the people, because the people that you just saw, these people that you're looking at right now, all of these people, probably all but one, but definitely including this girl here, we were all at a party, a private birthday party, just 12 hours before this picture was taken. And when I went back into the auditorium for the second time to make this video, everybody was a lot more friendly. So because here's how it works in the Philippines. If you walk into a room, any room, this is a powdered milk product, 8 ounces of powdered milk. And this is a pack of crackers, premium crackers. If you walk into any Filipino party, doesn't matter. Could be a party, could be a beach party, could be a fiesta. Like you'll see me walking down the beach on a Sunday sometimes, and there's a group of people. One person in that whole group will designate whether or not you're welcome to come to the group. If just one person in that group says, I don't like that guy, no, they'll look the other way. That never happens with me, but it's kind of like if one person doesn't like you, nobody's going to talk to you. So in the auditorium, in the video that I'm going to show you, with all of these boxes, now this boy is about 5'4" high, and these boxes are 6 feet high behind him. These are the cracker boxes, and you can see they're a foot taller than he is. And these are the boxes of sardines. Now, originally I was going to make this boy the thumbnail, but I didn't. And for this video, I'm going to use another friend of mine who you're going to see in a minute. Now, this was at the birthday party. This was the breakfast before I went to the area of Poblacion to get the room for the party, which they had plenty of room, but they just wanted me to get more room. Welcome to the Philippines. So this was just and this was a goat they sacrificed for the party. Now, goats are not sacrificed so easy, but for that man, his birthday and Christmas, a goat is always sacrificed. So let me see. This is a friend of mine. Now, I'm going to tell you who this is. This is a friend of mine named Mario. Bad picture. And here I am. Mario and I have been close friends for 6.5 years. Now, I'm going to show you another picture. Before I show you this picture of Mario, I'm going to tell you that 6+ years ago, I moved to where I live now, within a few hundred feet. And Mario was a big, strapping, strong man at that time. He did drink a lot of alcohol. And since then, he basically, he's not a poor person. Let's clear this up right now. Mario has more money than most Americans. However, he gave up and he started drinking. Well, he was drinking. He was drinking Tanduay every day. And everybody loves Mario. Everybody. There's not a single person that doesn't like him. He's probably one of the most popular people in the neighborhood because he's lived here since he was born. So there's hundreds of people that love Mario. So I decided to use his picture in the thumbnail because he's probably one of the most well-liked men anywhere. I mean, at the party, at the birthday party, there wasn't a person at the party that didn't walk up to Uncle Mario and say hello. Everybody loves Uncle Mario. However, Uncle Mario has been neglecting food in placement of, basically in places of he in the video that I'm gonna post, he speaks perfect English, but it's hard to understand him. I understand him, but this is a result of non-consumption of food and too much consumption of alcohol. And I'm not being facetious. We've all, at different times over the years, we've all tried to talk to Mario and tell him that, you can't just drink alcohol. It's not good for you. And I'm being serious. You'll see me at the party interviewing Uncle Mario and him saying, give me one bottle Thunder White. Now, you won't be able to understand it because you can't understand his inflection or tonal of his voice, but I can understand it perfectly. And then you'll see me and him laughing. Shh, it's a secret. Because for a long time, when Uncle Mario asked me for a bottle of rum, I would give him a pint or a bottle. I'd just go next door and buy one. But then I was asked not to. And it's hard not to because we were good friends, and he would come over to the house and he'd say, Michael, give me one bottle, secret. It's a secret. And I would give it to him, but then I was asked not to give it to him. So at the video I'm going to post tomorrow, you're going to see us laughing about the secret. Now, I didn't give him a bottle. He doesn't need any more alcohol. But he wasn't drunk. But when he was talking a little bit where you can't understand him, I understand every word this man says. He talks to me, I hear it like it's English. He talks to you, you'll hear it. You'll think it's not English, but it is English. So this is a picture of Uncle Mario. This is the picture I decided to use on the next food drive because this is one of the most well-liked men in the entire province of Panglao. And this was a strapping, heaping, hardworking man his entire life that just decided that he didn't want to work anymore, and he started drinking alcohol, and this is the result. He knows who I am. He knows who everybody is. He knows everybody's name. He's able to walk about. Well, he can walk 100 feet, and that's it. He has to sit down, and sometimes somebody has to go retrieve him. So a lot of times I'm walking down the block, and he's stuck. Stuck. Michael! And I look over, and he's sitting down. He goes like this, and I go over and give him a hand, and I get him home. So living in the Philippines is different. Now in America, I don't know how this man would get along in America. I didn't know anybody like this. I mean, I didn't never watched anybody go from, when I tell you Mario was a big man, him and I were basically the same size. We're not talking about like a 5-pound difference. When I met him, and he is 6'4", 6'3", 6'4". He might have went 230 pounds and he looked skinny. But then one day he just decided I'm not going to eat anymore. I'm just going to drink alcohol, and that's what happens. So I'm going to go to the next picture, which I can't show you at all. And then I'm going to go back to the auditorium where the food is. And then I'm going to go back to my comments. So now this is the second day I went back. Now I'm going to say this again to the little small-minded motherfucker out there that says I was begging for food. No, I was not at that drive to get food. I went They had to get rum for the party. I saw them doing something, and I'm going to go one step further, which I always do. I saw a bunch of people in a big public building. And being the person that I am, the fucking man that I am, a real man, by the way, I said, let me go in and see what they're doing. I fucking live here. Remember? Not only do I live here, I am part of the community. So, and I am sure that when I get into that building, I'm going to know somebody. Somebody I'm going to know. So I walked into the building. The men were, this rice pile was 6 feet high. You couldn't see these men behind the rice pile. There were bags everywhere. This was the bags. This is the second day. And then they had this whole table. Adrian is the big guy you're going to see me talk to. And then I got the name of everybody except this one girl. She calls herself No Name. But I went and introduced myself to every one of these people at the line because I'm doing a video for these people that one day, maybe tomorrow, when they see the video, they're going to go, oh, wow, we did all that work and we didn't take a video. That is so cool. We have a video of us at the food drive in Panglao on December 8th and December 9th, the day of the Immaculate Conception holiday. That is so cool. That's what they're going to say. They're not going to say the crazy guy is making a video. They're not going to do that. Those were such hardworking young men and women, they wouldn't take the time to make a video because they never stopped working. I took the time to make them a video so that they would have a video and I would have a video. But I didn't go there to buy food. Now, I didn't go there to get food, buy food, or beg for food. Now, I would tell you, I know you like to threaten people. I don't. I would just tell you that in real life, leave me out of the equation. In real life, I know for a fact that you would not run your fucking mouth the way you do to real people in real life. Forget about me. I know this for a fact. I know people like you. I know people like you. In real life, you're a different animal, different type of human animal. Not that we're all animals. Everybody knows that. In real life, no. Over the computer, yeah. And yet you accuse me of all kinds of egregious shit, and you are the one that actually does the things that you accuse other people of. You threaten people on a daily basis. And then when they react to your threats, then you entrap them verbally and press charges against them. But if all the facts were known, you would have been the antagonist, antagonizing somebody who might be less prone or understanding to your tactics. You basically used guerrilla tactics on the guy with verbal slander and verbal abuse until he said something that I'm sure he's going to regret, and I'm sure it's illegal. But it was you. If you left all of the videos and all of the words that you spoke about the man and his girlfriend and what you called his girlfriend and what you said, I sized him up. I could snap him like a steel pretzel. Those are your words. And you did it daily, hourly, sometimes 5, 6, 7, 8 times a day. Post the video of your threats, hollow threats at that, because I don't fucking believe for a second you could beat that guy. I don't believe it. You couldn't make me believe it. In fact, when push came to shove a year and a half ago, you always always side with the, let's just say, the yellow stripe, the side of the yellow stripe. I don't believe for a minute you could beat that guy. And I think what you should do, being that you threatened him, I could beat you, I could bust you like a steel pretzel. Being that you did that 100 times before you triggered him to threatening you, I think you should give the guy the opportunity to literally get in the ring with you. I'll pay for it. I'll pay for it with the money that Warren gave me. Or Warren will subsidize a legitimate fight between you and him. Winner takes all. That's what Warren should do. And Warren and I have some words to conduct with not just you, but with the people of YouTube. Warren and I have some things we want to talk about in the open. But I think that Warren would back this professional fight in a legitimate ring. I think Warren would back it up. All expenses for both parties to come and meet legitimately. No arrests to be made before the match. None of this sneaky, backhanded, slippery, slidey, slopey shit. Just an honest match between you and Barry. That's what we want. We want to have a bell announcer. I'll be the videotape guy of one, maybe 2 or 3 more. Warren will put the money up for the hotel. You can bring your partner. He can bring his partner. Everybody can meet in Cebu. Take a couple of days to train. I am absolutely sure Warren will pay for this. Absolutely am I sure about this. So let's see if all that tough talk that you have towards this person, the angst, the anger, the insinuation, how easy you've sized him up, you can beat him in any venue. There's no way I could bust him like a steel. Let's get it on. Let's get it on. I will personally put up the first $5,000. Warren will post any more money. I'll bet there'll be enough people where this could be a profitable thing for the winner. But there has to be the caveat. The fight takes place if the original antagonist that made 25 or 30 videos against the man named Barry, if the original antagonist wins, then he can follow through with his lawsuit. And if it's possible, have Barry arrested at the ring that day if he wins. However, if Barry wins, the charges are dropped and everybody goes home with some money. Well, I don't know how much the purse will be. I haven't actually ran this by Warren yet. But Warren and I have a pretty good understanding. I think Warren would want to see it as much as me, but I'm going to put the first 5,000 up. I'll put the first 5,000, and then Warren, I'm sure, will dump another 10,000 into it. And we'll pay for the ring, and we'll pay for everything. There'll be a cut doctor, there'll be a ring announcer, there'll be a bell guy, there'll be an ambulance on. And the caveat is, if Barry wins, drop the charges, he goes home scot-free. However, if you win, which is very unlikely, you can have Barry arrested at the ring, and whatever happens to Barry happens to Barry. Because there's no doubt that Barry probably said something that may or may not have crossed the line. That I'm not taking away from you, but I'm just trying to figure out a way that you can prove your manhood. Prove it considering that every day, 2 or 3 times a day, you get on the internet and abuse Barry. Every day. Yesterday, it was his girlfriend, how she was definitely married. And I don't want to talk about, but 17 minutes of blah, blah, blah. regarding Barry and his girlfriend. His motorcycle's going to break down. It's going to be a piece of junk. It's a piece of junk, but he's still going to have to pay the bills. Why do you care? Why do you care? Why do you care about Barry? Why do you care about Barry's motorcycle payments? What is, in every show, you start off every show, it's none of my business what anybody does with their money. But that guy, who do I sound? I sound like Pissport. That guy, I don't know where he gets that from. I wonder, there's got to be a reason behind that. Pissport TV. He is one funny dude. But I think that would be reasonable. So let me show you some more pictures that I took. Here's a pile of rice. And these guys have, there's boxes and bags all over the place. And here's another shot. The lighting was really bad for this. My fault. I should have been around the other side, but the bags were on the other side. It would have blocked the view. Here's another one. The guy has plastic bags on his feet so he doesn't get rice between his toes. And then this guy has bags, and there's a couple of girls here. All of these people I went to a party with the night before. Not all, but most. And then here, in the background here, you can see the piles of boxes that were well over this man's head the day before are now gone. And then they're putting the food in boxes. This is the police officer outside who I spoke with, and he asked me why I was making a video, and then I told him, and then I showed him my shirt. He goes, "Oh, okay, I know you." And that was cool, good to go. And then here's another thing. This is the kind of bullshit that you see on YouTube. This is not my handwriting. This is 12/9/20. I did a blood test, a blood systolic and diastolic, and here is the results, 120/80. Why would I lie about something like that? For what reason would I lie about that? Where would I get a card from the hospital? This is my card for the hospital. They took this information so that in case I ever want to go to this hospital, they have my information on record. Why would I lie about this? For what reason would I lie about my blood pressure? If I didn't like the results, I wouldn't put the picture up there. But why would I lie? It's perfect, my blood pressure. And then what is fucking wrong with, they took my blood pressure and it's 120/80. How come now? Because this is what you do all the time. You get everything half right, half wrong, and you twist it up. Somehow magically the information gets twisted up. Now a blood test there from a doctor on the chart at a hospital recording engine, that is no longer good for you. Well, who gives a fuck what's good for you anyway? But you say it's a lie. Filled it in some piece. No, I didn't do that. But now, on top of filling in the piece of paper with any numbers I wanted, now I have to show it 3 times. And I have to make a video of it. See, this is what's wrong here. You think something is true when it's really not true. Like the expression you use that I sized you up when apparently Barry came to your house. I sized you up. This is the part that somehow gets distorted inside your small, ability for the English language. I sized him up. I sized him up. I looked him over. I know how I could snap him like a steel pretzel. What did you say? The term is I could snap him like a pretzel. Like one of those pretzel sticks, you could just snap it. I've never heard the word steel pretzel before. Never heard the word steel pretzel. And if it was a pretzel made out of steel, it wouldn't snap, it would bend. And this is what I mean. Everything is half right or half wrong, or a little teeny piece of truth twisted into some bizarre concept, like I could snap him like a steel pretzel. What is a steel pretzel? One has to ask oneself. And if you had a steel pretzel, would it snap? And the answer, of course, is no. It would bend, it might break, but it wouldn't snap. Steel would bend. Iron would bend. Cast iron would snap. But it wouldn't break like a steel pretzel. A person wouldn't break like, what's the point? Everybody knows there's something just a little bit off with everything that you believe and say. And I think that we have the solution to solve Barry's problems and your problem forever. And then from that day on, you start with a clean slate. I think that would be amenable to Barry. I think it would be fun for everybody to watch. And here's another piece of information. Look, see this? Fazio, Michael Thomas, age 65, status single. Single. See where it says single? Now, if I was married, it would say a married man. If I was single, it would say single. Single. Single is different than being married. I don't know why. I just wanted to share that with you. Let me see. I don't know if I want to show you the next picture. Ah, yeah, here it is. Okay, so here's the picture I'm going to use for that thumbnail. And then I'm going back to my comments. Oh, boy. Oh, we have comments here. In my opinion, at Del Fuego, we're talking, he's changing the subject, and we're going to flow with Scott's subject matter. In my opinion, the Earth is far older than today's experts espouse. It is likely contact with another high technology society or entity spurred many of the otherwise impossible projects in the ancient world. And I'd add to that, Scott, I look at the computer and what it does and how it's made, and it amazes me every time I think about that. You look at how they cut the glass, quartz, that they put the computer chips on, and how they acid etch the resistors and the circuitry on it, and they put 10,000 circuits on a little teeny board like this, like 1 square inch, and then they put 1,000 pieces of quartz all connected to one another this thick. The technology is amazing. I don't think it's human, that's for sure. So Scott says, I patched a 3-inch copper drain pipe from my addition bathroom to the stack. Somehow it developed a tiny split at the bottom. I wrapped it in flex tape, pretty cool product. Then modified a rubber metal pipe joining clamp by removing the ridges on the inner rubber, applied that over the flex tape. I tightened down the clamps, adding a third for good measure. No more leak. Oh, that'll definitely do it. You probably wouldn't, if that ever happens again. Well, the flex tape is good shit. I got to tell you, that is really good shit. But if you didn't have flex tape, you could just go out and get PVC no hub clamps. It's a rubber boot with a stainless steel, the ridges over it. I think that's what you're talking about. And you just put that over the pipe all by itself. If you clean up the surface, even if it's wet, it'll seal it without, and you don't even have to use the whole clamp. You could just use half of it over where the leak is. But yeah, those stainless steel clamps with the over the rubber boot. That'll stop it for sure. John, now you see Scott is a real man and can do these repairs with just a slight thought. There's always a way to do a workaround. So we have John Escape Rainbow Sweet Skate Vlogs. Thank you, John. Hello, Princess Anne. Let me go through my comments. It's a drain pipe, so no pressure, Dennis. Don't know how it developed a split on the bottom over the last couple of weeks. Could not figure out where the leak was coming from. I over-repaired it. Truth Lady, hello. Mr. Willis, hello. Truth Lady to Dennis, hello, Truth Lady. It's almost impossible to eat a broiled steak sandwich on a hard roll if your teeth have been knocked out. Oh my God. And I gotta tell you, that's true. That is true. I would think you could go to any dentist and ask him, is it possible to eat a broiled steak sandwich on a hard roll if you have no teeth? And there are some people out there that they threaten other people and they say this, that, and the other thing. And then now here's another expression. Lord, forgive them, for they know not what they say or do. But not, I'm going to break you like a steel pretzel. That's not a saying. That's just not real. It's not real. It's not real. Mr. Willis says, I have done over 200 hours of condensate drain pipes in my earlier days in the union. Greetings to the Truth Lady. Mr. Willis, very good, Scott. You have ventured into doing your own repairs. Scott has tools. He has tools. He not only that, he has a power miter. He has a nail kicker for hardwood floors. Scott has a lot of tools, and he does his own repairs. He's a real man. Real men. And if a real man didn't have the tools, a real man could go on the internet and say, how work around 3-inch drain pipe leak. And I didn't put it in there, but work around 3-inch drain pipe leak. And I guarantee you're going to come up with 100 answers for that problem, because it's a drain pipe, and every house in America has a drain pipe. Some of them leak. So just put down how to repair a 3-inch drain pipe. You're going to come up with the answer. And a real man wouldn't go out and hire a plumber. A plumber would charge Scott to do that $150 to $250 for about 10 minutes work. And that boot for a 3-inch pipe would be about $12 in today's world. Good to see you, Mr. Willis, says John. Okay, bam, bam, bam. Barry. Oh, my God. What Barry would do to that man, I would say, I think the longest part of the fight would be catching up with the guy who was running away from the Barry. I would only bet on Barry. And I'm willing to put $5,000 of my own money into that project. So I'm being serious. I'm being very serious. Warren, I know, will put another $5,000 or $10,000 if you agree to just let bygones be bygones and no arrests at the end of the day. Because theoretically speaking, if you win, you're not going to get the money, and you'll be able to arrest Barry. But if you lose, not only would you want to try to still probably reinstate the charges for Barry to get arrested, but there'd probably be an additional charge, because what Barry would do to you in about 90 seconds might be considered attempted murder. Because I don't know that the referee would be able to stop the fight. So there might be additional charges. We'd have to make it so Barry understood that when the bell rang or when the referee separated you guys, it would stop. Otherwise, there'd be additional charges. But I think Barry would go along with that, and considering that you started it, as you do with most other people at all times in every circumstance, you start the problem, you instigate the problem, you try to trigger the person into saying or doing something, then you take your fucking video off the air and say, oh, I'm a fucking victim! And you go bitching and crying like a little girl wherever you got to go after you take the videos down that started the problem to begin with. You think I forgot that you called Daisy a cockroach? Looked like a cockroach? You think I forgot that you say I have flesh-eating bacteria on my foot, which is not true? You think I forgot that you tell people I smell funny and I bathe in a puddle, a filthy puddle? You think I forgot that you said that I live in a shack where I got the wood from the beach? You think I forgot all of that shit? I didn't forget about that. Just like you told Barry, I didn't forget you talked about this. You talked about, Robert, you talked about my dog. It's a fucking YouTube channel. Get over it. It's just fucking YouTube. The only real true statement that has ever really been made recently, and I don't necessarily agree with it, is Big Kevin goes under the guise, it's only fucking YouTube. Yeah, that's because Big Kevin is out there fucking abusing people and he doesn't want to get any flashback for it or blowback for it. So he uses that as an excuse. But with Barry, you're the one who started all that shit. Just like everybody else you started shit with. So you start it, you fucking make a big deal out of it. You antagonize people to where they get to the point where they say enough is enough, and then they say something stupid, and then you take the videos that you started it with down, you take them down off the internet, and then you cry like a little girl that I'm the victim, I'm a victim, I'm a victim. Well, if people only see the part of the show or the part of the shows after you antagonize Barry to trigger Barry, talking about Barry's girlfriend looking like a certain type of animal in a jungle, talking about her being this, that, and the other thing, talking about the size of Barry's personal parts, talking about Barry coming from a hillbilly family, talking about all of that shit. Finally, you triggered him where he might have had a few drinks, or maybe he just said, you know what, I've had enough of your bullshit. And then you go crying to the authorities. You did that. You started that. Barry fucked up by saying what he said. Everybody knows that. But you fucking never stop antagonizing people. You don't stop. And I'm going to tell you one more fucking time. And I know you think I'm kidding, but the Girl Scouts are coming. This is not a joke. Whatever it is that you think is a joke in all of my shows or anything like that, you should understand that the Girl Scouts are coming. And just like Paul Revere, when he rode through Boston ringing the bell, he said, the British are coming, the British are coming. And he was serious. The British were on their way. I have it under good authority that the Girl Scouts are coming. Now it's just a race. And you did this all to yourself. Just like you claim that Barry, he did it to himself. He threatened me. After you antagonized him 200 or 300 times and abused his girlfriend and called his girlfriend names and said she looked like certain animal coming out of a jungle. Nobody deserves to talk to anybody's girlfriend except you, talking to Barry's girlfriend like that. Except you, when you called Daisy, said Daisy looked like a cockroach. I don't think Daisy's so pretty. I think she looks like a cockroach. And then you come up with this bullshit. Oh, it's my opinion. Everybody can have an opinion, but nobody can have an opinion against you. Only you can have an opinion against everybody else. Your opinion is the only opinion that counts. We're going to find out about that. We're going to find out about that. If your opinion is the only opinion that counts. But in the meantime, let's get Barry and you and me and a couple other people into the I'll go to Cebu and get the arena ready, and you agree, you write up some papers that you'll drop all the charges against Barry if he gets into the ring with you, and if he wins, you drop the charges. If he loses, you can put him in jail. I think that's reasonable. I think it's a reasonable, to ask, considering that you started it. You made 50 videos. You made 30 videos. You degraded his woman for 30 or 40 times. You did that. And then he said one stupid thing, and now you haven't let him live that down. I would say you have 35 to 50 videos. I don't like when my life is threatened. I don't like it. I'm not going to forget it every fucking day. And you put them up and you take them down. And you put them up and you take them down. And you do it every fucking day. And I am absolutely sure that people like Roberto, possibly Warren, they have all of those videos. Not that it will help Barry. It won't help Barry. But it does go to show character. And that's why the Girl Scouts are coming. Girl Scouts are coming. They're coming. It's just a question of time. Just all good things. All good things come to those who wait. And let's go back to the show. Bam, bam, bam. Barry, Barry, Barry. Bam, bam, bam. That's my opinion about Barry as well, Scott. Marvelous Mark, the King of the Dark, not questioning Dennis Adam. You're a cool dude. I just wondered if you had been there. I was only there once on vacation. I do have an understanding of the number 12. It dates back to the Egyptian, the cats that they worshipped. The Egyptian cats had 12 digits. They had 6 toes on each foot and each hand. And they had, so that's where basically the 12 came from. The 12 tribes of Israel, well, the Egyptians were long before the 12 tribes of Israel. There seems to be a correlation between the number 12 in ancient mysticism or religious doings, let's say. Like there are 12 signs of the zodiac. There are 12 people on a jury. There are the 12 tribes of Israel. They had there is a number, but the original 12, from my understanding, dates back to the Egyptian cats that they worshipped as godlike beings because they had 6 toes and 6 fingers on each hand. But there's an additional part of that history that goes back many, many thousands of years, 30,000 years ago, where the gods that came to this world, that started the DNA process of life itself, or as humans, that they had 6 digits on their hands and their feet as well. But the most recent recollection of 6 digits is on the cat's feet that they used to worship. The Egyptian cats had six digits, but there's also a type of cat that still to this day has 6 toes. And they are, if you go on Google and you look up the famous guy, Heminger, and you go to, I've been to his house, the Heminger Museum in Key West. There are the cats that he bred, and they had 6 digits on their paws. And I was there with my mom back in 2001. I've been there many times, but that year was with my mom. And the cats have 6 digits on their toes. I forgot the name of the cat. It's a domesticated house cat. You can buy one, or you can get them for free. I don't know, but they exist. So, and they're supposed to be a remnant of the 6-digit cats that were worshipped going back 30 or 40,000 years. And the 12 disciples and the 12 gates of Israel and the Apollo 12. Yeah, that all has to do with ancient text that goes far back, way past the Israelites. There's other histories that go back 50,000 years. If you go to, you can look it up in the Bible, Melchizedek, M-I-C-H-E-S or M-I-C-H-E-Z. Melchizedek and then E-L, M-I-C-H-E-Z-E-L, Deck, D-E-C-K, Melchizedek, spelled with an S or a Z. You can go back to Melchizedek, and he appeared 1,200 years before Jesus and did the same things that Jesus did. So they hide that history, but it's in the Bible. There is a book of the Bible called that talks about Melchizedek having the same abilities as Jesus, except for one, I think it was the resurrection. They said he didn't do, but who knows if it's true or not. But Melchizedek, that also goes back to the number 12. It predates the history they want us to know about, the number 12. And it has to do with the 6 digits on each hand and foot of the gods. Okay, so Marvelous Mark, the King of the Dark. I've seen Dennis's house, but I got to tell you, Marvelous Mark, it's a beautiful, big, huge, giant house on a big, huge, giant piece of property. Dennis has a nice house in the Philippines. So we'll go past that. I don't know that Dennis has been to his house yet. I know he was there when they started it, but I think they finished it this year. I don't think he's been there. Barry, says Scott Del Fuego, Barry looks like he could be a Roadhouse scrapper. And if you've seen the movie Roadhouse, starring that guy, very good actor, he was a good fighter. And I forgot his name. I liked him, Patrick Swayze. I liked him. If you've seen that, he's just basically a scrapper, guy that doesn't give a shit. He's going to get right in there and fight his way out. Yeah, I would think that Barry would monkey that man up, and I don't think it would take a minute. I don't really think it would take a minute. I don't think that man is prepared for what Barry would bring on. That guy would be sitting, bring it on, and Barry would have already brought it on. The bring it on part would be when he was waking up in a hospital bed 6 or 7 days later. Bring it on. What happened? As Pissport would say. Barry. Bam, bam, bam. Scott says, Mr. Willis, you have to be well versed for a union to let you do a job on pipes or plumbing. They don't want callbacks. That's true. Dennis says, no problem, Marvelous Mark, the king of the dark. We just had a real shower installed in our house, but still no hot water. That's going to change when I physically move to the Philippines. You don't want the company to get a call back, says Mr. Willis, especially at union wages. John Escapes, do they sell Polygrip denture adhesive in Cebu? You know, John, I got to tell you, what I would suggest you do if you need Polygrip is bring it with you, because I don't know if they sell it. I wouldn't know about that, but they have a lot of products here, name brand products that you could buy off the shelf in America that they just don't have here. I mean, what could I give you for instance of? Aspirin. Aspirin. They sell aspirin here. Where's that box of aspirin? In America, you can buy. Now, if you're coming to the Philippines and you need aspirin, you should bring it with you. You should listen to me. Now, in America, you could buy a bottle of aspirin with 100 pills for about $8. So that would be 8 cents per pill, 4 pesos per pill. But you can buy it by the bottle of 100. Here, an aspirin comes in these little tinfoil wrappers. You just push this over and you get a pink aspirin out of that. Yeah. These are 80 milligram aspirin, 80 milligram, and these are 4 pesos. However, in America, you could buy a 400 milligram tablet for 4 pesos. So you could buy 400 milligram aspirin for $8. So these are 4 times the price here. And plus a lot of waste with these things. They don't sell aspirin in the bottle. Now, I brought back from America, I brought back 200 aspirin. And this box of aspirin, I don't know how old it is. It's quite old. And I used up those aspirin. Between Daisy and I, we used them up within about 6 or 7 months. I think her mom took some back to Davao with her. I used some. Daisy used some. They didn't last that long. I only had 2 bottles. And wherever they went, they're gone. So I have those. Now, I don't take many aspirin. Occasionally, I may take an aspirin, and those are 80 milligrams. They work, but there's a lot of things. Polygrip, I've never looked in that department. Probably they have it at Lazada, but you're going to pay double or triple at Lazada what you'd pay for it in America. Dennis says it would be the powdered stuff. Okay. The Earth is estimated to be 4.5 billion years. Okay, little Nick. It might be that old. It might be older. It could be younger. We can't even get the right numbers. How many people died this year from what? And now we're going to believe people that the Earth is 4.5 billion years old. Little Nick, I want to give you a piece of information. You could check this out. Before the year 1808, I think it was. Before that year, in all of recorded history, throughout all of the beginning of time, back 50,000 years ago, never was a dinosaur bone found. Ever. And yet, they swear that dinosaurs walked all over this earth. Now, maybe they did, but for 50,000 years of history, never have we ever seen a dinosaur bone found before 1808. And then after that, All the bones that you see in the museums are restructured from polymers. They're not real bones. But moving past that, for 50,000 years, we have found the real skeletal bones of giants living to be 36 feet tall, some of them. And never can you see any of those again in like the Smithsonian Institute that had like 8 tons, 16,000 pounds of human bone remains, people between 7 and 10 feet tall, up to 36 feet tall. The Smithsonian Institute in Washington, D.C. in 1910 or 1909, they put all of those bones on a ship, brought them out to sea, and dumped them in the ocean. Those are not real, but dinosaur bones are real. Even though for 50,000 years we find the remains of human skeletal bones as big as 36 feet tall, we find those all over the world. In Ireland, in England, in Russia, in Japan, in China, in North Carolina, in Kentucky, in Wyoming, in Alaska. Never did we find a dinosaur bone since before 1808. So there's a belief that dinosaur bones are fake. The entire concept of the history of the world with dinosaur bones is not real. And every human remains of every skeletal remains in every major museum in every major country of the world disappeared in the last 100 years. They don't want you to know about the giants. They want you to believe in dinosaurs, which I personally have my doubts about. Bounty Hunter, do I know how to do the ankle pick in wrestling? I don't know. I don't know what an ankle pick is. I wrestled for 4 years. I lost twice at the big matches. I guess I might have done that. I don't know it by name, so I can't tell you yes. Okay, Scott. Little Nick says Barry for the win. Oh, nobody. I don't think there's a person on YouTube. We could probably get the purse up to $20,000 or $30,000 for the winner easily. I know a lot of people that would wager big money on Barry. I know a lot of people. I don't know anybody that would wager against him. Nobody. Even I don't know of another person that would bet against Barry. I wouldn't. I would even go one step further, that it wouldn't go 2 minutes. If there was unless you were allowed to run away, then Barry might have trouble catching up with that guy. But I don't think he could fight him. I don't think the fight would last 2 minutes. Barry looks like he would. I don't know. I just think he could. I think he could whoop that guy's ass in just real short work of it. I mean, I don't know how much I'd want to wager it would be under 2 minutes, but I would think it would be under 2 minutes. Most fights are under 2 minutes, by the way, unless you're in tip-top condition. Barry for the win. Barry is the winner because the other opponent was a no-show coward, says John Escape. Michael, do you have any explanation for the prevalence of the number 12 in history? I did that one. The Majestic 12 was the Black Project, which investigated the UFOs and then stopped, and then it became Project Blue Book. I remember that. Our educational system has 12 degrees. Warriors come out and play warriors. Warriors, says John Escape, come out and play. Warriors come out and play. That's true. A 1 year equals 12 months. Little Nick, the number 12 is also strongly associated with the heavens. The 12 months, 12 signs of the zodiacs, 12 stations of the moon and the sun and the northern stars. I never studied I never studied astrology. I don't know what I know about astrology. I've already just said in the last 60 seconds. I don't know much about it. Throwing everyone under the bus is a reference to the guy who antagonized Barry to where Barry said something stupid and possibly illegal. And he's always throwing somebody under the bus. He's not happy unless he's throwing somebody under the bus. He does it every day and then takes down the video. Number 12, as indicated in this article, typically means perfection or authority, often used in contexts of government. For instance, because Jacob has 12 sons, they form the 12 tribes of Israel. Yep, I remember that. Little Nick, 12 bucks in the bank account. You are gifted. God's gift. Nick has $12. We see Jesus had 12 disciples. And the disciples later replaced Judas Issachar with that of Matthias to keep the number 12. After Judas betrayed Jesus. Scott Delfego, it would take you 12 hours to drive to my house from your house. LOL. That's probably true. Where Dennis lives? Yeah. The number 12 in horse racing is absolute losing position. I don't know anything about horse racing. The EU flag has 12 stars. Doesn't it? That's okay. Little Nick, one time I had a girl that had 12 nipples. Sounds weird. Dozen, D-O-Z-E-N, doesn't it? I like that, Nick. Thank you. Fast radio burst, FRB, 12/11/02, was a radio burst noted on that date, thought to be a signal from the galactic event. It then repeated it in 12-year appearing. It thought to be a signal from a galactic event, energy event. It then repeated in later years, appearing to be a high-energy space signal. I think I read about that just recently, a signal, because I was reading about the Arecibo dish that collapsed, which I find hard to believe that it just collapsed. Good night, John. Thank you for stopping by, and thank you for the super chat, and thanks for the conversation this morning. Thank you. John is going to say goodbye to everybody. The Hopsters, aloha, Mr. and Mrs. Hopster. Welcome to the machine. Stopping in to say hello. Happy holidays. Thank you. Mrs. Hopster, what was the lady's name that I had said to you that instead of sending me super chat, you give it to the other lady that's working in Dubai? I forgot her name. Can you? And I mentioned it before. Instead of sending me money, to send money to either Barry or that lady. And then I forgot her name. If you're still here, could you tell us the name? Honeyco, right? Honeyco. Now I remember. Honeyco was Scott, and Honeyco used to have some nice conversations between each other. Thank you, Mrs. Hopster. Bounty Hunter. Hey, man, I got to say, you look like that actor in the movie The Expendables. Bounty Hunter. That would be Sylvester Stallone. And I have pictures of myself on Camelback Road and 15th Street or 15th Avenue and Camelback at the Planet Hollywood in 1991 or 1992. I was on my way to California. Could have been 93. I have to look at the back of the pictures. But I have pictures with Sylvester Stallone up on a lift. And him and I had known each other since we were very young, probably since I was about 20 years old, because I would buy food in his family's delicatessen restaurant and bakery, Stallone's Bakery on 120th or 121st Street and Rockaway Boulevard. And I remember him going in there when we were kids, and when he became famous for Rocky, he would stop in occasionally, but he always made a point to say, "You look just like me." And I always made a point to say, "Hey, you look just like me." So I was out in Arizona with my friend Kenny Stein, and he was on the lift, and he came down and he looked at me because there was not a lot of people there. And he goes, "Oh, you look just like me." And it was like, he knew who I was. You don't know my name. And I said, "No, Rocky, you look like me." And I have pictures of us about 4 or 5 feet apart. And I have that picture, and I have those memories. Not that I liked him, because he had done some really crazy shit to investors back in the 80s. Oh, more super chat. Time to ring the pot, bang a pot. But he always said, whenever we saw each other, wherever we saw each other, we probably only saw each other about 4 or 5 times. He always said, "You look like me." And my response was, "No, you look like me." Of course, he was a much more famous man than I was, but he had to do some strange shit to get there. Got to tell you, I wouldn't talk about that, but I do know of some strange things that Sylvester Stallone did. And one of them was he started, when he got the first Rocky movie, he started collecting money for a hotel industry in Hawaii. And he came around and asked everybody for $50,000. I didn't have $50,000. This is going back when I was just a kid. And he got $13 million and reneged on everybody, went bankrupt, went belly up. He actually stole $13 million from the investors. All legal, of course. And Mr. Willis, it's for the Rabbi. Happy Hanukkah. Rabbi Jew Barker in the Philippines, baby. It is a good day when we make some green pay. Oh, you know what, Mr. Willis? I'm gonna share this with you, Mr. Willis. I was gonna share it with John, but he had to go to sleep. Mr. Willis, want to hear a secret? Don't tell anybody. Oh, this is the pot. And you know this is Digger 2. Digger 2. And you know that this is the original Digger, Mr. Obama. Okay. Mr. Obama has been working on the transition team for the political, whatever they do. And he's been away a lot. We're gonna get Digger 2 a playmate. That's right. We're gonna get Digger 2 a little companion. I'm gonna tell you right now, Digger 2 has been nothing but happy since I told him he's gonna have a companion. Now I gotta go into the city, I think sometime the end of this week, and look for just the right companion for Digger. And when you guys see this, you're going to say these two guys were meant for each other. Not only do they both dig holes, but it's a man's best friend. It's going to be a man's best friend, and it's going to go moving into the puppet and the doll world. Digger is going to have a good buddy. A good buddy, I say, a good buddy. And I hope that I can find one of his good buddies that has the ability to talk, and the two of them, they could talk to each other when they're digging and digging and digging, because they're going to be a digging team. They're going to be a digging team. I'm not sure of the name. First, I have to find just the right doll, and then I have to find a doll that talks. I have to bring Digger to the city to interview the doll. I'll bring Digger to the city before I go looking for a friend of Digger. And then if Digger agrees, we'll find a nice doll that Digger can get along with, compatible. We'll get the doll a nice little leash. And hopefully the doll will have boots that glow like anti-gravity boots. But if not, Digger, I'll get a backpack for Digger, and he'll put the little fella on his back. And so I want to share that with Mr. Willis, and thank you for the super chat and the happy Hanukkah wishes, because this is Rabbi Jew Barker in the Philippines, baby. Mr. Willis, you were the first to hear it. Shh, don't say anything. This is going to be classic Fazio. We are going to move into a whole new series of dolls. We're going to have Digger 1. We're going to have Digger 2. Of course, we have the Trump puppet. And now we're going to get a companion for Digger 2. Somewhere Digger 2, when he feels like taking a walk in the park, go to the beach, throw a couple of fucking sticks. Digger 2, the Digger 2 pet doll will go fetch the sticks. I don't think I'm going to be able to find a waterproof Digger 2 doll that speaks. But if I can't find a Digger 2 doll that will fetch a stick with voice, I'll just find a Digger 2 doll that will fetch a stick without voice, and then I could bring the Digger 2 doll to the beach and show the Digger 2 doll what the beach is for. Because all the dogs I ever had loved the beach. I let it slipped out. I wasn't going to say that. The Digger 2, the companion of Digger 2. I have videos of my memories of my companion. When I went to the beach, that boy would swim a mile, a real mile. He'd swim a half a mile across the bay. You'd hear him barking for hours, and then he'd swim back at night. Sometimes he didn't come home for a couple of days. I don't know where he was. He would swim off across the bay, and he would chase the seagulls. And there was a beach that I used to take him to when he was a baby, a puppy, and he would chase the dogs on that beach back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. In fact, I have video of that. Look, give me a minute. I'll find a video of that. My dad and I on the boat I built with the dog chasing the seagulls. I said dog again. Mr. Willis knows about the scandal that Sylvester Stallone pulled. Aloha to the Hapsters from Mr. Willis. Mr. Willis lives in Hawaii, Mr. and Mrs. Hapster. They may live. Little Nick, Honeyco does have her own channel. I don't watch the Honeyco channel. I like Honeyco a lot, but I just don't have time to watch every channel. But I like Honeyco, and if you do go there, tell her I said hello, please. I always liked Honeyco. She's just a sweet young lady. Mrs. Hapster, John left just before you came in, I think. Hello to Mrs. Hapster from Scott Del Fuego, from Sweetscake Blogs. Hello from Mr. Willis to that Mr. and Mrs. Hapster. I'm so full of gas station sushi for supper. Young Michael Fazio was a dead ringer for Stallone. I have those pictures. Part of the reason he had more women chasing him than a New World Order supporters chasing higher tax rates. In Michigan, where I owned property in Michigan, there was a woman on First Street, Main Street and First was right across the street from Kent Bank. You could look it up. It's in Traverse City, Michigan. And it was directly next door to the fudge factory. That was what the tourists that would come to Traverse City. Traverse City was famous for milk chocolate, white, dark, sweet, unsweetened. And she would, when I lived in Traverse City back in 1988, 1990, 91, when I had property there, I'd go there for a month or two of the year, she would always throw me an apple. Hey, Rock, here's an apple, like in the movie. I thought that was pretty cool. So I did look a lot like Sylvester Stallone, a lot like him. For him to say it every time we saw each other, the few times we saw each other, was interesting. I had no problem dating. Actually, I think if you were a young man in the 1970s and the 80s and you had any kind of, if you had a job, if you weren't a complete asshole, no one had any trouble dating. I mean, dating in the 70s and the 80s was a whole different animal than it is now. I mean, hello, how are you? Want to party? Okay. And if you liked each other, you'd be going out with each other for 6 months, a year, or get married. I mean, there wasn't the kind of background checks and evil people walking around on the street. Everybody grew up in a middle-class housing area, and you met somebody. I know my friend Eddie married. First date, they were going to get married. They got married. Didn't work out. Only worked out for about 10 years. But, I mean, back then there wasn't the kind of crap that went on in the background. Stallone was asking money for his hotel partnership with Nobu. His restaurant shut down here in Honolulu. Honolulu never cared for that place. He did some scam. I don't know if that's the same one, but in America, he would come around. Literally, he came around and asked the more successful businessmen in Howard Beach, Ozone Park, Jamaica Estates, where Trump lived. He would ask those people for money, Long Island, and he collected worldwide. He collected $13 million, got the money, and went bankrupt. That's what he did. That's fact. Maybe you could still find it on Google, maybe not, but that's fact what he did. I remember what he did. Nice story, Mike. You are a well-connected New Yorker and have many stories. All right, so nice story, Mike. You are a well-connected New Yorker and have many stories to entertain your viewers. Thank you, Mr. Willis. I was an avid believer in learning stuff when I was young. Mike, the Hopster's cool, Mr. Willis. So am I, from Hawaii. Don't be modest. New York Michael Fazio had more game than a Yankee Stadium, more women who wanted him than people waiting to win a policy number. I'm going to get a video of what I look like in real life on a beach with a real dog, not a real dog. This is a real dog. This dog would chase the jet skis all the way around the beach, which was about 1,500 feet. And then when the jet skis turned around, he'd chase them back. And he would do that all day. I'm going to get that video right now for you people. You want to see where I lived, what I looked like when I was younger? I'll show it to you. I have the video up. Now, it was a guy interviewing me, a guy named Tommy. I had borrowed this video camera, which goes back to 1985 or 1984 or 1983. It was a $1,700 video camera, and it made tapes about this big. So let me get the word Howard Beach in my search box. Let's see, Howard Beach. There's 22 videos that say Howard Beach. And do I have that under the Howard Beach heading? I think I do. If not, I have it under Charles Park. I have it under Charles Park. CHARLES. Park. Now, I have lots of videos from Howard Beach. I just don't have them all up. Here's the one you want to watch, ladies and gentlemen. Here's the Michael Fazio that looked just like Sylvester Stallone, and I'm not being exaggeration about that. In fact, Sylvester Stallone, I was in a lot better shape than Sylvester Stallone was in. His muscle was from a gym. My muscle was from working with a sledgehammer and digging dirt and building. At the time, I was building pools and decks and docks all over Queens and Brooklyn. But mostly I was doing pools, and I was digging out entire pools that would be 4 foot deep on one side, 8 or 9 feet deep on the other, 16 feet wide and 32 feet long. I would dig out the entire pool with a shovel because most of where I did the pools was dirt. So let me open up this link and another thing, and I'll show you where I lived. I'll show you my dog that spent 3 or 4 hours a day in the water. I don't know why somebody didn't steal him. He was such a cool dog, but the bay that you're going to see that I'm going to show you was 2,000 feet across, and he'd swim about 2,000 feet. If it was high tide, he'd swim across the bay, chase the birds all day. He wouldn't come home sometimes. And the next day I'd see him, he'd be exhausted. Okay? I mean, when I say exhausted, I don't even know how he got home. He either swam back across the bay. There was another way. I taught him how to get home from walking through a marsh to a bridge and then follow the bridge back to Howard Beach itself from Tombstone Beach. And I don't know how he would get back. When he was gone for a day or two, I just said he ain't coming back. And that's all. He just is not coming back. Okay, so I'm setting up this picture. I know you won't believe this is me, but it is. Now, the highest resolution I could get out of here is 480. And that's because the camera was, we're talking about 1983, 84, 82, 85 technology. So this is me talking to a friend of mine on the beach about building decks and docks, how I want to be the biggest deck and dock builder in the area, which I was shortly thereafter. So I'll let this play.
Hey, Tom, you know what I was just thinking? It'd be nice if the Statue of Liberty was situated right over there, next to that green pile of weeds. Yeah. And we could see it every day. That might be interesting. Tall ships could come in and out of this canal. You need a deck? Ladies and gentlemen, I build decks and docks for a living. I build custom decks and docks for a living, as a matter of fact. Only custom decks and docks, all together at Zollacraft. My men and I build the best decks in Howard Beach, Brooklyn, Broad Channel, or New York City for that matter. One day, I hope to be the biggest deck builder in the United States. I know that'll never happen, but it's nice to think like that. Probably what will happen is I'll go out of business in 2 or 3 years and move to another state, perhaps sooner. But right now, I build the best decks in Queens, Brooklyn, or New York, and I enjoy it when I go to work. Today I'm supposed to be working, but I'm off, and I'm having a good time doing this. There's really not much else to say. I'm getting tongue-tied over here.
Now we go to work, baby. We're going to work this beach. Get ready. We're about to go to work. This is the back of my house. This is where I lived. I lived this beach here. Just past this. This is where my Chinese friend Peter lived. This was a deck he built out of, he basically built it out of driftwood. And then I built the next 4 decks and dock systems down that way. My house was immediately next to that. I'm going to show you my house where I lived on a white sand beach. And there it is right there. That's it. That's where I lived. This is the first apartment. My apartment is the next apartment over on the 3rd floor. So my view was of Manhattan skyline, a white sand beach, Charles Park, and Rockaway Beach from this balcony that you see right here. And we'll go further. This is the balcony that I lived. This was my balcony.
Residence of MF.
The residence. And these were all these decks, all the dock systems, everything you see in this video, I built both sides of the canal. And where's the dog? The dog is running down, following the jet ski somewhere, and I'm going to work. There he is, off into the distance. Ah, the memories, the way we were. I smoothly worked my way over to the girl with the white bikini.
He's making some private business here. The deal's gonna go down now, folks.
There she is.
There she is.
There she is. Nothing happened. It was a...
Trying to get underneath that pair of crutches right there.
Ah! Nothing happened. It was a blowout.
Right there.
And here comes the dog. He'll be coming around in a minute. Playing a little coy there.
Zumba. That's what he wants to do.
Zumba. Zumba. Here comes the dog coming around the front of the beach. This is what dogs were meant for. Here he is. Dun, 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 dun.
Star of the show.
It's going to go in a little water. I'll give you the link for this video in case you want to watch. So that's where I lived. And right across where I lived was this bridge. And back here, you could see what you're looking at back here, these little shadows above the bridge. That is actually Rockaway Beach, Queens, 6 miles away. 6 miles away. Those are the buildings of Rockaway Beach, Queens. So I don't think we did work. We worked at, well, that beach we worked every day. Every day, that beach. We worked that beach every day. So here's a group of us. Again, at the end of the day, I was getting ready to go home. Well, I was getting ready to head back. I mean, I failed. One of my few failures. And
That's a good sign.
there goes the dog.
Yeah, look at that face. He knows he got it.
He's
He knows he got it. Look at that happy guy. Mike,
Yes,
you know you got it, right?
got what?
You know you got it in for tonight.
No, not me. I would never do anything like that.
Of course not. Okay. This I think will be the end of the tape. I think this is the big tape that Mike's been waiting for.
The score on tape? You're not talking about the score on tape, are you?
No, but you sure are. You just named
No,
it.
I
score.
didn't say that. You said that.
Okay.
Yes.
You said the score, my friend. We finally got this on Library 10th, 1986. And we'll give another little close-up of the two.
Big bang.
That Mike's going to have.
Big bang.
Big bang.
Big bang.
There they are. Those crutches make great support, Mike. Okay. And we'll finish up with a little...
Ladies and gentlemen, July 5th, 1986.
There's the dog.
This is the big bang. Everything's automatic. The focus. That starts the...
All right. That was just one beach. One beach I lived on. I always lived on the water. I'll give you the link for the video if anybody's interested. But this is one of my favorite videos. I think this one's public. Yeah. Okay. It's always been public. So let me give you the link. See if we got that in there. Yes, we do. Charles Pack. The name of the video is Charles Park Babe Hunting with Z2 and the Old North Channel Bridge. So I'll get that posted for those of you who are interested in seeing a little bit of nostalgia. And this is nostalgia, let me tell you. That beach with that dog, the dog was a chick magnet. And you can see the dog was running along the beach after the jet ski. He would chase the jet ski down. We're talking 1,500 feet, run back. The guy would stop the jet ski and the dog would just go. He didn't want to bite the guy. It's not like he was biting the tires of a truck or anything like that. It was just a game. He would run after the jet ski. In fact, I trained him to follow my car. So when I would tell him you want to run, he loved to run. This dog could run miles. I'm talking about, we let him off on 160th Avenue and 99th Street. So that's 5 blocks. That's 5 blocks at 800 feet per block. So that's 4,000 feet. Then it was another 1,000 feet that he would run around the beach. Sometimes he'd run in front of the park. Sometimes he'd run around the back of the park. And then from the back of the park would be the beach where my house is. And I'd have already pulled up into the driveway and been upstairs. And then he'd come upstairs and get something to drink. But he would run. Now, if I stopped the car at the park, he would run to the car, get in the car. We'd go back to 160th Avenue and he'd run down to the park again. And he would do that several times if I wanted him to. It depends. I mean, when he was a puppy, that was the only way to get the little bugger to go to sleep. When he got older, he would do it once or twice. And then when he got real old, he could only just skedaddle down the block. But he liked doing that. When we got to 160th Avenue and 99th Street, he would run. He wanted to get out of the car. Even when he got old and he couldn't run, he wanted out. So I give him out. So, LaRue Seagrass is here. Back in the day, Nick says, bounty hunter. You, Fazio, do Stallone impression. Yo, Adrian. Yo. I used to be able to do it better. Yo, Adrian, come on over here. I had a better, I haven't watched him in years. I don't watch Sylvester Stallone. I watched the movie Expendables. I liked the movie. I thought it was enjoyable. Of course we would, because it was all our heroes growing up. But, yo, Adrian, when I was younger, it looked a lot better. Stallone does look like you, Dan. He does, Mr. Willis. I wasn't kidding. And I did that. I was built like that from working. Stallone, you're right, Mr. Willis was on steroids. Z2, great dog. He put a very famous person in fear of a denutting serious pooch. I should tell that story. That's true. I guess I could tell that story. Let me get through some of these comments. Let's see. Mr. Will, oh God, there's a lot of comments. Stallone was asking for money. We got that one. Get him a female doll so he can make little diggers. First, we got to get him a real man's best friend doll. Why the wife doesn't know about this account. Thank you for stopping by, Mr. Willis. Nice story, Mike. You're a very well-connected New Yorker and have many stories. The next story I talk about, little John Jr. Oh, he hated that fucking name, John Jr. You call him John Jr., you had to be friends. He did not like John Jr. Well, I don't know that I'm going to get time for that. Let's see. Don't be modest. New York, Michael Fazio had more game than Yankee Stadium. More women wanted him than people wanting a winning policy number. That's the truth. Little Neck, Michael Fazio is way tougher than Sly Stallone. In fact, Michael is so tough that he sleeps with a nightlight, not because he's afraid of the dark, but because the dark is afraid of Michael. Whoa, 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 that deserves a repeat. Little Nick. Michael Fazio is way tougher than Sylvester Stallone. In fact, Michael is so tough, he sleeps with a nightlight. Not because Michael Fazio is afraid of the dark, but because the dark is afraid of Michael Fazio. Damn, that's a bell ringer. That is a bell ringer, Nick. Nick, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Nick, 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 little Nick, little Nick, little Nick rock, little Nick rocks with those songs, little la la da 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 da, little Nick, little Nick. That is such a cool thing you said. Thank you. And now, is that new glasses, Mr. Fazio? They're different. Oh, what happened to the orange ribbon? No, they're the original. The orange ribbon must have fallen down. I have 8 more pairs of these. I have a box outside. Here. This is one with orange frames. Orange. There's another one here with the orange. This is a 6.0. These are 4. This is a 5.5. These are 5s. I have 6 more pairs outside. Mrs. Hapster with the observation. Now I will tell you that those glasses outside are in a box. They're all new glasses. Thank you for noticing. Back in the day, auditioned for James Bond 007, Michael Brains and Brawn. I was in good condition, little Nick. I used to swing a sledgehammer. I worked for one of my family members. We broke concrete. I broke a lot of concrete. A lot. I'm not exaggerating. I won't tell you what my workout was, but I will tell you that I could pick up an 18-pound sledgehammer, and Jimmy would get on the breaker bar. Jimmy was just as strong as I was, but he was twice my size. And we'd get on a 6-foot pry bar, and he would pry, and I would snap the concrete, because that's how we did it back then. And I would swing an 18-pound sledgehammer for somewhere between 30 and 45 minutes, and Jimmy would pry down the concrete to snap it, sidewalks. We did a lot of sidewalks. And back then, it didn't have rebar in it, so it wasn't like that now with the rebar. And then Jimmy would work the sledgehammer, and I'd work the pry bar. But I would also dig an entire pool, 12 feet wide pool, 14-foot trench, 32 feet long, 4 foot deep on one side and 8 feet deep on the other. And I would dig that entire pool out by myself. If it was clean brown dirt in Brooklyn, 2 days. And I would have it in the dumpster in front of the house in 2 days. I was in really good condition. Thank you, my dear friend Scott Del Fuego. You're great compliments. All right, so I missed that. Whoa, I was handsome, Princess says. Thank you, Princess. The crutches mean she was probably on pain medication. She didn't go for it because she wasn't thinking clearly. That was just the day was early. The day was early. So now, a little back in the day, you should have auditioned for James Bond 007, Michael Brains and Brawn. Thank you. So we have hello to my friends from LaRue Seagrass. So that video, let me get you the, I think I posted it. I think I did. That was an oddball day to have that video camera that day. I got it from Neil, who owned Royal Video on Cross Bay Boulevard. It was a $1,700 camera. It was probably 16 or 17 inches long, might have weighed 7 or 8 pounds. and I forgot the name of the camera. I think I have a picture of it somewhere. And I had done, why did I have that camera that day? I don't remember. I don't remember why I had that camera that day. I had borrowed that camera that day, or that, oh, I know what it was. It was the QE2 was coming into New York Harbor, and I was working, I was building decks and docks, but my dad's tugboat was still at Battery Park City / the World Trade Center, where they put the complex in, where we reclaimed the Hudson River. And I was going to the city to do a video of my dad on his tugboat. And that's the day I have of the tugboat, the QE2, and the warships were in the harbor also for some other event, and helicopters, and Neil had said to me, you can keep the camera for as long as you want. I don't know how many days I kept it, but I used it every day. The only thing was I had to use my money to buy the tapes, which I did. So I only have about 4 videos from that camera, but it was a $1,700 camera back then, and it was this big, and it was the highest possible resolution that you could possibly make. It literally, because that video was only in 480, the camera took video in stereo quality, high fidelity, like Zenith. I think it was a Zenith camera, but it would take pictures in the quality, movie quality video. Scott, I want to show you this wound I found from a mosquito bite. It's gone almost. This morning it was like a rock. It was this wide and this long, but now it's small. It's back down to normal size. Swimming made it get soft and go away mostly. Yeah, I'm so glad I got that video. And then that guy Tommy, he was one of the 4, what we call the crew. We were one of 4 of a crew. We were the crew, not the. Oh, so the story about the guy that Scott wants me to talk about. I guess it wouldn't do much. I don't know. You know what, Scott? A very well-known guy. If I mention this guy's name, there's not a person in the world, no white man in his 30s, 40s, or 50s hasn't heard of this guy. We'll just call him John Jr. Okay. I don't want to mention his last name. Yeah. Now a freaking phone is better than a digital camera from Hollywood 10 years ago. You people have to see the immense and rapid changes are truly quickening. They are. Don't use the name, just use the generality. Okay. So where I lived in that apartment, there were like, that block had probably some of the most famous people in all of the world, some of them living on that block. It had a woman named Diamond. I forgot her last name. She was a stripper, the stripper. She lived like 4 doors away from me. There was another guy, Johnny Dart Limousine. He provided limousines for every freaking movie star that ever came to New York City, Johnny Dart Limousine Service. But this guy, Johnny Jr., he had a house. He had the downstairs apartment from me. I lived on the top. He had the middle floor. Him and another guy named DJ, a little guy named Ralphie. And I, without mentioning the last names, but they're all very long last names. So on Sundays, everybody made sauce on Sundays. Either we bought pizza and had pizza, or we made sauce. So on Sundays, I always made sauce. So the guys would come upstairs and we'd fool around and, laugh and joke. And sometimes there'd be drinks and sometimes there wouldn't, most times not. So one day Johnny comes back from jogging with JD and little Ralphie and a couple of other guys. And Johnny, I guess it would be okay to say Johnny A. Light. So Johnny A. Light and me and sitting at the counter, and I'm making meatballs. I'm slapping the meat together on the counter, and I got a tray of meatball dough, and I got a big bowl of spare ribs. And I'm frying everything up because I used to fry up my meat before I put it in the sauce. And I'm going to make a 2.5, 3 gallon sauce. So Johnny comes swathering up and sits down on my couch in his sweatpants. Him and JD just did some laps around the park where the dogs were, but there was a path. And the dog, Johnny says, "Hey, how you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How you doing?" And the dog walks up to Johnny Jr. and he looks at him. And I'm looking at the dog because he looked at me and I looked at him. It was like a movie. And he just went like this. And he latched onto Johnny Jr.'s package. And I'm being serious. And he held it like this. He held it like this. And John's going, "Mike, what's going on?" I don't know. Johnny never did that before. Yeah, but why is he doing it now? I have no idea. So Johnny A. Light walks over to the dog and he goes like this. He takes his finger and he starts smacking the dog's ear like that. Because we used to play with the dog like that, and the dog would growl. Like the dog would be playing with me, and somebody would smack the dog's ear, and the dog would turn around like that. Well, so the dog, Z2's got Johnny's package in his mouth, and Johnny A. Light walks over to the dog and goes like this. And the dog is going, "Arr, arr, arr, arr," like, and I'm going, and John's going, what's going on? And the dog could rip his package right off. The dog got the whole package now. He doesn't have like a portion of the package. The package is well inside. And he's going, "Mike, what's going on?" I never seen him do that. Well, get him off. I'm going, "Come here, Z." I could give a shit less. "Come on over here, boy." Arr! And he would give you half a circle. Arr! And I'm going, "Come on over here." So I walk over with the spare rib and I hand the dog the spare rib. And I'm tapping the dog on the nose with the spare rib. He knows it's a spare rib. And he's going, "Arr, arr," like that. And I'm going, he don't want to let go. Get him off. Anything you want, I promise I owe you for the rest of your life. Well, eventually the dog let him go. I never saw the dog do that before or after. But that guy, now he's like, I didn't mention your name, John. So he'll remember that, though. He'll definitely remember that. Now, you people, a bit harder for you to get in touch with him than me. I could probably get in touch with him, but I have no wish, will, or desire to get in touch with him. But that's a true story. My dog had Johnny Jr.'s package in his mouth for a long time. I don't know why. That's a true story. Now, I know a lot of people, that's all bullshit. Yeah, well, okay, it's all bullshit. Johnny A. Light, they just made a documentary on him. He could verify that if he would talk to you, if you could get his phone number, if you could be a third-party contact. But he would probably tell you, yeah, that's what happened. You could look him up, too. So now JD would be a little bit tough to look up. You'd have to dig deep to get JD to talk to you. Yeah, I don't think JD is still with us. But my dog was a trip, man. He did some strange shit. And everybody loved him. Even Johnny Jr. loved him. Everybody loved my dog. I don't know why somebody didn't steal the dog. I have no idea. No, I mean, that dog was, You could have took him to another location, and the dog would have been gone. And he was friendly with everybody. Plus, he had another habit. I'm going to end this video in a few minutes. Thanks for working that out with me, Scott. That was a good idea. So my dog had another habit. Okay, so if there was a woman on the beach where those people were, it was low tide. But at high tide, there would be people on the beach getting ready to go swimming or jet skiing. I would tell the dog to go downstairs and get the ball, B-A-L-L, get the ball. And I would point at the people on the beach. Now, I couldn't see a ball, and he didn't know if there was a ball there. But he would run down the 3 flights of stairs out of the backyard, across the sand beach, in the back of the beach, and he would grab their pocketbook, or if they had a ball, a football or a ball to throw or a frisbee, he would grab that and he'd bring it back upstairs. And that would give me an excuse to talk to some people that I had never met before. But in addition to that, I didn't keep him on a leash. You didn't have to. He wasn't vicious until he got to be about 3 years old. So when he was a puppy, this is. Now, when I would let him loose, he would run outside and then he'd run along the beach and he'd run after the seagulls. He'd chase the birds this way and he'd chase the bird. But sometimes he'd go to the football field and he would grab their football, but he wouldn't blow the football up. He could punch it he could punch it at football just like that, be gone. But I trained him not to bite too hard, like on a plastic Coke bottle or the balls that I had in the house. He knew to play with the balls, not to bite down and break the ball. So he would run to the football field and grab their ball. And they would be afraid to try to get the thing. And he would not want to bite them, but he would look at them and he'd run away. And he'd bring the ball back to the house, bring it up the stairs, and I'd open up the front windows and I would throw the ball back down to him and say, bad, Z, bad, you're bad. And he would go, and then he would know not to grab the ball again until he went outside and grabbed another ball. He had Doberman, Shepherd, and Hound was the mix. He was just naturally prone to going around and collecting shit. He collected wood. He'd bring home a 4x4, drag it out of the water, and chew it up into pieces in the backyard. A 4x4. We're not talking about a stick. We're talking about a 4x4 of pressure-treated lumber. He would just and chew it into where it broke in half, and then he'd be done with that, and he'd go find another piece of wood. It was a cool dog. So with that, Warren, I was hoping Warren would show up. I want to get that wager going between Warren and myself and Barry and the other man. I want to see if we get that working. That's going to be, I can assure you that can happen. Now, one more thing. I don't know why I'm hearing this shit about Warren and me. I don't know what I'm hearing. I'm hearing that me and Warren had a falling out. I don't remember that happening. I remember talking to Warren yesterday morning at about 5 o'clock in the morning, my time. I remember talking to Warren last night. I'm not seeing the falling out. I think somebody's making up more stories, as if the first 32,000 stories weren't enough. I think there's more stories. But, Warren, I am sure will add, if we can get the charges reduced to 0, if Barry wins, Warren will be all in on this. But got to be that way or no way. And if you win, let's say you take $15,000 and you can arrest Barry. That's reasonable. It's reasonable. If you win, you get $15,000. I'm going to put 5 up. I know Warren will do 10. And I'm sure other people will want to add. It's reasonable that if we get a ring announcer, a doctor, an ambulance, a hospital room ready, fly you in or bring you in by boat, however you want to come. 2 days of rest before you get into the ring. Enjoy the lovely sights and sounds of Cebu, Cebu. You two guys go at it. The winner takes 15,000. The loser takes 5,000. However, the loser, if Barry wins, charges are dropped. Barry loses, you can do whatever you want legally to Barry. I'm sure you're going to do whatever you want legally to Barry anyway. You already said it 44,000 times what you're going to do. I'm going to do this, and I'm not forget. Why do you have to bring it up every day? Why do you have to bring it up 6 or 7 videos a day? Why? For what reason? You're just antagonizing the guy. You're triggering. Okay, you triggered a guy that may or may not have been drinking and made a mistake, and you blew it out into the most horrific thing that ever happened to anybody in the history of the world. I don't understand that. And we're going to say goodbye to everybody. Remember, when I go to the city this week, we're going to get Digger. We're going to find a man's best friend for Digger, and the two of them, hopefully they'll be able to talk, but if not, Digger will at least have a companion, man's best friend, because Mr. Obama, he's very busy with the political stuff. And Mr. Trump, nobody even wants to hear his name anymore. He has been sidelined by the powers that be, which I have told you for months. In case you have a short memory, I have told you for months Trump was just the new face of the New World Order. And why you people didn't listen to me, I don't know. In fact, you're not even allowed to be pro-Trump anymore. Therefore, I never was pro-Trump, but you're not allowed to be pro-Trump. He always was part of a much more complex plan called the Great Reset, the New World Order, the Club of Rome, the Knights of Columbus. You people don't see that Trump destroyed a multi-billion dollar, no, trillion dollar. Let me get the article up and I'll say goodbye. $1 trillion business. Here is the business that Trump destroyed. It's $1 trillion, trillion with a T, $1 trillion business. I'm going to give you the video and the link for this. He destroyed this business. After he destroyed $10 billion worth of cruise ship industry, he destroyed $1 trillion in cargo freight container services in America alone. $1 trillion. The ships are worth billions of dollars. They're being scrapped. A $400 million ship with a life expectancy of 10 more years. Yeah, here it is right here. Industrial cargo ships that otherwise could have sailed the oceans for many more decades are being scrapped.
More decades.
Industrial cargo ships that could have sailed the oceans for many more decades are being scrapped. Every year, trillions of dollars worth of cargo is transported. Trillions with a T. Transported on ships like these, and losing the fleet could turn into a huge barrier of global trade. This is another wonderful thing that Mr. Trump has done, and now it appears that the powers that be want Mr. Trump to go away, and it appears that he might just do that. because in today's world, we're not even allowed to talk about what happened 5 weeks ago. Not allowed. Not allowed to talk about it. If I talk about it with any bias for one side, the video will get taken down. If I talk about it for bias on the other side, then it will be allowed to stay up, but it won't be true. But none of it's true. Trump is a new world order puppet, and this is what you people don't get. You just don't get it. So let's go back to your tape. Shipbreakers documentary. That's where they breaking these ships up. This video I'm going to post right now is hundreds of billions of dollars of ships. Now, $1 billion is 1,000 millions. And a lot of the ships cost $350 million, $400 million, $500 million ships. So just 3 ships is $1 billion. But in carrying on those ships our cargo worth trillions of dollars. Trump destroyed that. It's gone. Never coming back. That's why I laugh at you people that think certain things. I laugh at you. You think that Trump is one guy, and he's not that guy. He's just a guy who pretends to be your friend. We know lots of people like that in our lifetime. They pretend that they're helping. Trump never had any intention on doing anything but what he did. He knew this was going to happen. Not 6 months, a year, not 2 years. He knew this was going to happen within 72 hours after he got elected. That's 4 years ago. He knew it. Just didn't say anything about it. That's what part of the New World Order and the Great Reset is. It's control from the entities, the powers that be, the powers and principalities behind the scenes. Scott says, thank you. Mr. Fazio. Mike, thank you, Michael Fazio, for an entertaining and enlightening stream. Appreciate the diversion and entertainment. Also, thanks to guests Sly Stallone, and Digger 2, and Z2. Thank you. Yeah, I'm going to go get Digger a fucking man, a real man's companion. And thank you, LaRue. Hanging in there, hanging on there, host. Thank you, LaRue. Thank you, everybody. I really am going to say goodbye because it's time for me to leave the house. I have something that I enjoy doing in the afternoon, and I'm going to go do that for about an hour, maybe 45 minutes. And then I'm going to come back and have cabbage, because cabbage is better than Metamucil. Everybody knows this, and it's cheap. It's really cheap to eat. It doesn't have any sugars in it, only natural sugars. So I have a big pot of cabbage and pork that I made this morning at 5 o'clock. And I also put a camote potato. Those of you who are living in the Philippines, camote potatoes are now, if you do a little haggling, for the big camote potatoes, like 4.5-inch diameter potatoes, 30 pesos per kilo. Last year, at some point, I checked on the price of camote, 90 to 120 pesos per kilo. So in the city of Tagbilaran at the ICM Mall, in the vegetable market, 30 pesos per kilo. They say 35, and without haggling, without asking the woman for a discount, I said, give me 5 kilos. How many pesos per kilo? 30 pesos only, sir, even though the sign said 35, because I bought in bulk 5 kilos, and they'll last for a month or 2 months. Live stream, Star Little Neck says, thank you, Mr. Willis. Salamat po, Michael, for the entertainment and the stream. Amping po. Saayo Michael, Saayo Chatters, a very enjoyable live stream. That's Italian, baby. I don't know exactly what it means because I am Italian. I forget. Have a nice day. Please tell us. Sure. Tell us what the Saayo means. I forget. I really am Italian and I forget. I moved out of New York City when I was in 1993, and I never met another Italian. Maybe somebody was Italian, but they didn't speak Italian in Florida. Here, there's no one that speaks Italian. Ciao. Scott says it means ciao. See? I forget. It's going 93, 103, 113. It's 27 years. It's a long time. Hello and goodbye. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for watching. Remember, Digger 2, baby. Digger 2 is about to get a playful companion, man's best friend. Take him to the beach, take him out in the backyard, teach him how to work like a man. Digger, 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 digging in the backyard. Yeah, baby. Digger's happy. He's a happy digger. And this is a baby alive doll. The price is $36, so I can put it in the description box. Notice how I don't mention famous people's channels on my channel. Notice how I don't mention the name of 4 famous channels. Well, you know, I wish I was like... Notice how I don't do that shit. Then I don't put it in the description box. I don't put it in the tag box. Those are people that are trying to literally skirt the system. Now, if I was to say the name of a major blogger, let's say, now I'm not going to put this in the tag box, but Amazing Philippines Rod. I met Rod 2 years ago. I have never watched an Amazing Rod Philippines video. Not that I don't like him. He was interesting to meet. Not the kind of video I want to know about. I don't want to know about apartments in Cebu. So I don't watch his video. But I would never say Amazing Philippines Rod so I could put that in the tag box. But there are people out there that they maneuver. They're like little fucking... They skirt the system. Amazing Philippines. Rique Henry Valdez. I won't use their name in the tag box because I'm not like that. I just put the tags of what I talked about. But Digger 2, because he's from the bottom of the top of the flat earth, and because he talks, and because he's a very famous, well-known doll, I like to say the word baby alive costs $36. So I could put down in the tag box, how much does a baby alive doll cost? Now, I don't know if anybody ever Googles that, but I refuse to use other people's names like a stepping stone to use their name in my tags. That's bullshit. And when you see other people do that, that's bullshit. That is just like one of the lowest forms of sneaky, low-life scumbaggery that you could ever go to stoop down to. You can't Google any of those names, any other vloggers' names, unless I talk about them and they're my friends. You'll never Google another vlogger's name and come to it from my channel. That's sneaky, low-down, snaky, slimy bullshit stuff. But that's why other people do it. Thank you, LaRue. I recognize it all. The Truth Lady is still here. Thank you, Truth Lady. Yeah, baby. You recognize it all being... She's talking about the video I posted the link for. I'll post it again. Of Howard Beach. Oh, that's not it. Howard Beach is where I grew up. That's my backyard right there. She would recognize that because that's where her friend Donald R. did a lot of work there. He actually did quite a bit of work right in back of my house, some of it just a few doors down. So I don't know that I can find my video with the link again. She recognizes it all. The North Channel Bridge, gone. The Shell Bank, that's gone. I don't know if I can get this damn thing. Bob Miller Shell Bank Basin, Shell Bank Bar and Grill, gone. Little Bow Wow, gone. The Pizzeria, gone. Charles Park. Let's see if we get the name of this video. Come on. This video, I don't know why it's playing so slow. I have no idea why it's playing so damn slow. None whatsoever. Shouldn't be like this. Except, oh, there's one more thing. One more fucking thing that needs to be addressed for this little fucking small-minded little fucking insignificant blogger on YouTube. I got to address this one more thing after I give this, the link and the name of this video out. This was my backyard. This was what I looked like when I was 30 years old. I was 30 years old in this video. And Sylvester Stallone, whenever I saw him the few times, would say, "You look just like me." And I would say, "No, you look like me, Rocky." And it was an ongoing thing for as long as we ever did see each other. So what the truth lady is talking about is the backyard where I lived. She knew. Why is that? What is going on there? What's going on? It only copied half this thing. Oh man, it's freezing up. I'll get it. Hold on, I'll get it. No, I won't get it. Why is that not? Oh man. Oh, I'm mad now. Not mad, but all right, we'll get it this way. We'll go here. Charles Park babe hunting. This is a cool video. You want to see what somebody looked like 35 years ago. Now, it would be impossible to get back into that condition again. Not really. I mean, it would take a lot of work. It would probably be 6 months of training. You'd never get the kind of tone back, but you'd get the strength back. And the endurance would be no problem. Might have more endurance now than I did even then because of when I go swimming, and I have a pretty good lung capacity now, better than I thought. I just swam 1,600 feet yesterday, quick swimming, 1,600 feet, and never broke up, never got tired at all. 1,600 feet. So there is one more thing. I'm going to give you the name and I'm going to give you the telephone number for them fucking douchebags out there, for those douchebags, multiple douchebags that keep saying that if I wanted to, somehow I could buy a computer from an Asus computer sales store in the ICM mall. I'm going to tell you again, it's not possible. So I'm going to show this to you. Here's the number of the name of the business. If you're in the Philippines and you want to call up and ask for the manager whose name is Grace. Ask her if she can order an Asus i9 15-inch. And the telephone number, the landline, is in the comment that I'm going to post right now. Now, I'm going to give you her Globe cell number. You can text her. For you fucking people that are too fucking stupid to understand, if I tell you something is true, it's true. Why is it so hard for you people to understand that when I tell you something, it's true? What problem inside your head exists that you can think that you're allowed to say Michael Fazio is a liar, when in fact, I'm not lying to you? Call up. I'm going to write down the name Globe. Both of these are Globe numbers. One is a Globe cell, one is a Globe landline. Call up either one of these two numbers. Text Grace. This is the name of her store, Thinking Tools. Text her and ask her if she can order an Asus i9 computer from Manila. I don't understand why it is so difficult for you small-minded, you people. Are you stupid? Are you really just doing it to break chops? Or is there a mental fucking break somewhere inside your heads that you can't get it through your head that no one has ever been able to prove I lied to them about anything on YouTube, and no one has been able to catch me in a lie and prove that I was lying? Not yet. And I'm going to tell you just like I said before. If there's something I'm not going to talk about, I won't tell you. But I won't lie about it. I'll just say, yeah, I know the answer to that question, but I'm not going to answer it. But nothing have I ever answered is a lie. You can call up Grace, and when you call this number, be nice to her, of course, but you can ask her if I have been coming in there since March to buy an Asus i9 computer. You can use my name, Michael Fazio. They already know me by first name. Michael Fazio. Has Michael Fazio tried to buy an Asus i9 computer? Has Michael Fazio been in your store? I was in there, I don't know, Thursday, I guess it was, or Wednesday. Grace was not there. She was on a break. But ask the people there, has he been coming in for 9 months? And if you get in touch with Grace, more the better. She's the manager. She would know. What the fuck is wrong with you people? What is wrong with you people? Got to be a psychotic break. It's got to be more than just a defect. Got to be more than that. What it is, I don't know. But there's got to be some sort of break from reality where I tell you what my blood pressure is, I'm a liar. I tell you I went into the computer store Thursday afternoon to look for a computer, I'm a liar. I tell you can't get it. Ask the store if anybody has ever bought anything from Manila to Cebu to Bohol from their store in Manila. The answer is no, nothing. But I'm a liar. Even though you have full access. Anybody in the world has access to that phone number right now. Call up Grace and ask her. Call up Thinking Tools in Cebu. Ask them. There's 2 Thinking Tools in Bohol. Call them up and ask them. Why would I lie about that? The guy who's going around telling everybody I'm a liar happens to be unchallenged. Nobody would challenge this following thought process. The guy who says, I'm a liar, Barry's a liar, Warren's a liar, Roberto is a liar, Dick Insider is a liar, everybody's a liar, Dave's a liar, Dave's a piece of shit and a liar, but that's true. But not everybody else. Dave's a piece of shit. Tell Dave I said hello. But he is a liar. So, and he's a backstabber and he's a weasel too. There's no doubt about that. But the other guys, some of them you can have some reasonable conversations with. But Dave is snake scum. The residue of snake. When snakes drop a load and they slither off of it, you see slime. That's Dave. That fucking guy. That guy's. But, let's not get off the subject. I didn't lie. Can't buy a computer. And to equate what I want for a computer because somebody else bought another computer, that's why they fucking made Cobra Mustangs that I bought, and that's why they made 4-cylinder or 6-cylinder automatic Mustangs with 150 horse, and mine had 340 horse. That's why they make different cars. Different strokes for different folks, baby. I'm being Permy from Michael Fazio and Digger too. And remember, Digger, 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 digger. Digger comes from the bottom of the top of the flat earth. Digger's coming to dig in a town near you. I'm being Permy.